Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. I'm your host, King Leo. We're early again. I'm a little tired tonight. You can see this. You see the wear of the week. Um, Thank you, Windows. But we're early. We're here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the King Leo Show. I'm your host, King Leo. Audio's good. All right. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome. I'm a little bit tired. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure why. I've been getting good sleep, but I'm not sure why. It's been a busy week somewhat for me, but we have a great show coming in today. We have to catch up on this whole thing, man. They're calling it the Clubacost. A little bit on the nose there, a little bit maybe a little bit offensive. All right. But regardless, we have to catch up with this because Andrew Tate has outed himself as this like just pathetic. And we already had our first OBS interruption. I always feel bad starting the show early, but we can get through our plugs at least, right? Let's do our plugs, especially for the rewatchers. How's everyone doing tonight, man? Here's our plugs. We got the Discord server free. All right, get in there. It's a lot of fun. We got the Patreon. This will be out tomorrow. The latest episode. It'll be about Jaws. King Leo Movie Club only on Patreon and YouTube. So it's not only on, but you know. And we have the What Would a Postmodernist Do parody bracelet available in the coffee link below. Those are our plugs. Yeah, man. We don't really have a crowd yet. So I feel so guilty starting the show early. Because it's messed up, you know. I've just been too on time. How you doing, Stafford? How are you doing? All right, we have a crowd. Let's start the show. What did he say? The mayor of Miami should resign and move to Israel if he likes it so much. America first, baby. Well, the mayor of Miami Beach is who I think you're referring to. Because the mayor of Miami is Miss Higgins now. It was Francis Suarez before, who was great friends with Qatar. And the mayor of Miami-Dade County is Miss Levine Cava, who is a big fan of Israel. She is. She has invested most of our money in Israeli bonds. It's pretty ridiculous. I think you're talking about the Miami Beach guy, so it's interesting stuff. Let's get into it. Let's start with Schizo Watch. All right, first off, we have to talk about the penguin. There's this meme going around of a penguin. It's from a Werner Herzog movie. Listen, it's about this penguin that lives in what I assume is Antarctica. I admit I'm not the biggest Herzog fan myself. I know that's blasphemy, but I'm not a big fan. And look, in this documentary, he captures this penguin that has some sort of mania, this mental illness that penguins acquire that makes them run for the mountains and die. And no one really understands why this is the case. I looked into it. No one's figured out why they get like this. And over the course of this week, I've seen this clip with the iconic L'amour toujours, Love Always by Il Capitano. You know, this song has been memed a lot by the right wing. It was famous for being used in Germany recently for Ausländer raus, meaning out foreigners out, anti-immigration song. It's a great song on its own, L'amour toujours. I love that song. But they have this scene from the Herzog movie with this penguin, and he's running away into the mountains, going to die. And they put the music in the background, and I've seen all week people being like, I know why the penguin is running. I understand this penguin. I identify with this penguin. And I don't want to disappoint anyone here, dude, but I don't identify with this penguin. Maybe I'm too cynical. Maybe I'm too postmodern. Maybe I'm too much of a Baudelardian at this point. But this struggle against nothing, as Fukuyama described, like this eternal struggle to find meaning in a world without it, it just becomes this lashing out at nothing. And I understand that people are frustrated, they're not happy. But look, I had my penguin moments. When I was like 19 or 20, undergrad, before COVID, I would read obsessively about the Congo conflict. Shaba 2, for the ones that know. I loved that shit. It was and I was like, dude, someday I'm going to move to the Congo and I'm going to join some rogue militia and I'm going to get cut down by some 12-year-old with an AK and I'll die looking up in the clouds being like, I died for Katanga, but then I grew up, then I'm like, I don't want to die for Katanga. In fact, why would I do anything like that? What is this idea of the sacrificial penguin? I just don't like seeing people identify with this because they also won't pull the trigger. And I don't mean that in a way that I'm egging it on. What I'm saying is, dude, if you really want to do this penguin thing, there are plenty of civil wars you can go fight in right now. You can go fight in Sudan, join the RSF. You could go fight in the Congo, like I said. You could go fight in Russia and Ukraine. There's plenty of wars to go fight in right now. You could go join the Maduro loyalists, But people don't do that. They just post this penguin and they're like, I understand why this penguin is killing himself. And I'm like, dude, I don't. This penguin clearly has something wrong with him. And I feel for him. He shouldn't die in the mountains, but people identify with this penguin. How you doing, Violoff and 112? So this meme has transcended normal, lower tier Twitter posting. And it's been co-opted by the federal government with the Department of Homeland Security posting this today, which is a modified penguin meme. You'll know what I mean here. Yeah, I was just giving you background in case you hadn't seen the penguin meme.
But one of them caught our eye, the one in the center. He would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
And the caption is, Americans have always known why. Does this mean the government is going to kill us? What? Listen, man, I don't know if this makes me disloyal or something. I didn't sign up for a suicide mission. That's not what I signed up for with this American passport. I signed up for, like cool shit, invisible planes, Coca-Cola, the Mayflower. I did not sign up for a suicide mission. And the DHS is tweeting out this penguin that is extinguishing its life and saying that Americans know why the penguin is doing. I don't want to end up like this damn penguin. I don't want to walk into the mountains and die. I don't know why the penguin is doing this. Why is the penguin doing this? I don't know. Why is the penguin doing this? And why is my government threatening me with the fate of this suicidal penguin? And it wasn't just there. Let's continue, because the Health and Human Services Division, which I really wouldn't like to tell me we're going to run into the mountains and freeze to death, because guess what? They're in charge of health and human services. And we have Secretary Kennedy here. All right. Posting this is him himself, the AI. Anyone who uses AI over the age of 50 at this point, I'm suspect of, dude. And I like some of the RFK stuff, but what the fuck does he know about AI? The Secretary of Health is walking into a mountain to freeze to death with this penguin. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want the Health and Human Services to take me locking in after watching that penguin edit. No, dude. What is this? Is this like Canada? Are we going to have MAID now? You know, like euthanasia or something? What are they? I really am at a loss here, man. I'm at a loss. I'm being threatened by my Secretary of Health. The healthier path is that going into the mountains and dying? Do they want us to die? Look, I get it in an abstract sense. I like Mishima too, you know, but we're past the age of being penguins running into the mountains. Yeah, you know, like especially older people. This is like a message for when I was 20. Again, that's when I'm like, yeah, dude, fucking my life is nothing. I'll go die for some shit. And now I'm an adult and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to run into the mountains and freeze to death. I don't like the cold. Maybe I'm a pussy. Maybe I am, but I don't see how this penguin is having a good time looking around the mountains. Have people even seen penguins? I've seen penguins because in Chile there's penguins. They're cute little creatures. I don't want the penguins to end up dead in the mountains. This is just inducing schizophrenia, man. How you doing, King Doms? Maybe the other penguin are all shitless. The penguin is like, I choose death over being surrounded by liberals. Yeah, boomers can't meme. I agree. 112 says, out of chat, just going to enjoy the show for a while. 112, always appreciate it. How you doing, Audio Vibes? And it didn't stop there. And this one kind of bothered me, man. Because here we have Donald Trump posting himself with the penguin with the American flag. And he's walking towards Iceland. This is the Icelandic flag. And he posted this today. And I already apologized yesterday. I'm not going to apologize again. We're not getting Greenland. It doesn't seem like. It seems like it was all fake. And does this mean that Greenland is going to kill America? Is that what is being said here? That Greenland is going to be the end of this country? That we are going to arrive in Greenland and freeze to death? I'm uncomfortable with my government posting we're all going to die edits. I don't like that. I don't like that. It doesn't make me feel confident in it. How you doing, Manosphere Vinyl? That's the penguin, dude. This penguin thing, it's under my skin all week. I'm like, dude, if you want to go die in a civil war, there's plenty of options. Like, there's a whole lot of them. Even if you're like, oh, I'm racist. I'm not going to join some civil war in Latin America or Africa. Well, then you have the Ukrainian army. Like, you can join that, you know, like... You want to die in the mountains freezing to death? What mental illness is in this country? The penguin, I don't aspire to be a mentally ill penguin. All right, let's continue, man. This drove me nuts. All right. We got here, this is a great edit. As if you guys aren't informed, Donald Trump has started the Board of Peace. I'm going to give it a little while, okay? I'm not going to come out and hate on it or love it because I got fooled with Greenland. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again. You know, so look, it's like a UN alternative that Donald Trump set up where you have to pay $1 billion to join. President Lukashenko of Belarus has joined. President Putin has joined. I'll give it a week. Let's see if it actually, maybe it does something. Maybe this is what the UN needed. Maybe the skin in the game. Okay? But people are pointing out that things are a little suspect about who's actually on the Board of Peace, considering it's the Board of Peace.
once this board is completely formed, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do.
So I'm going to say, I don't even understand how MBZ, who is currently, they're trying to kill him, the Saudis. How is he and Mohammed bin Salman on the same board? And all of these accusations, love him or hate him, bro. I'm sure we have probably some like Lukashenko supporters and stuff. They are these people. Like MBZ has run guns to Sudan for years to fight an Islamic government. MBS cut up a guy in Turkey, Khashoggi. We won't talk about the big boss, but you know the big boss. I guess he is indicted. That is true. There's an actual indictment. But Tony Blair's involved, and whenever Tony Blair's involved, I want to see what he can cook up. It's Tony Blair, let him cook. Let him cook. I'm not a Tony Blair hater, dude. I know we probably have a lot of Tony Blair haters. But Tony Blair has done some interesting stuff in his life, all right? He gave some good cope as to why he went into Iraq. He said, I simply had to go in order to ensure that the Americans did not go insane. That's like South African or Australian. I don't know why I can't do it. It's like a camera thing. I can do it when I'm not on camera. Vickers, that like it just comes. How you doing, Spring? Commercial airlines turned away from flights to Israel. What? It's crazy. All right, let's continue. What else we got? We got here. Look, a lot of people, myself included. I'm not a Vivek Ramaswamy fan. In fact, I'm a Vivek Ramaswamy hater. I don't like this man. I don't like him. And normally he's talking some bullshit. But here, people were hating. But I think that he's actually trying to help. Let's listen to what he has to say if you're in dire straits financially in this country.
But the number one practical way to make the American dream affordable in a state like Ohio is actually to defend yourself against that inflation by increasing your take-home pay.
Look, I get it. People are going to hear that and go, what do you mean, Vivek? I'm already working 2 jobs. What do you want me to do? But I'm just going to say, Vivek may be an autistic nerd, but sometimes the clock is right twice a day, right? Broken clocks. He is just telling you to get your money up, player. If you've ever seen The Great Departed, there's a great scene where Jack Nicholson's henchman tells a guy, this is America, asshole, make more money. Okay? So he is not incorrect. You should be making more money. Right? You should be trying to make some more money. Maybe I'm wrong. And you guys have seen me attack Vivek consistently. But sometimes the broken clock is right. You gotta get your money up. If you want to fight inflation, the most effective way is to make more money. It's not terrible advice. I don't know if it's actionable, but at least it's somewhat honest. Oh, I'll cut Vivek some slack. I'll cut him some slack here, all right? You guys know me, I attack this guy all the time. How you doing, Suzanne? Oh, boy, dude, this one is nuts. I couldn't tell if this was someone asked Grok, let's see. This was in 2019, and I must have missed this when it happened. Let's listen to Hillary Clinton, legendary 2-time loser, driving this country nuts. Let's see what she had to say here about China.
The only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's right. And not only that, China, if you're listening, why don't you get Trump's tax returns? I'm sure our media would richly reward you.
Now, a lot of you youngins, and even some people that are older, might not remember this. A lot of people think that the impeachment of Bill Clinton was about some extracurricular mouth activities. And that's true. It did turn into that. But the reason that that whole process even started is because Bill Clinton was accused of having coordinated with the DNC of taking money from China. Okay? This is vintage news. Vintage news, dude. This is like 90s stuff. I believe Ken Starr himself opened the investigation because of that. And so Miss Clinton here is playing it off as a joke, but this is just driving the country nuts. Is this healthy? Is it healthy to tell half the country that, hey, we're going to ask China, the Chi-Coms, for help politically? Is that a good idea? Is that healthy for the minds of people? And further reinforcing the Russia thing, which I never bought into that, man. I really didn't. I didn't. I just thought it was silly. But Hillary Clinton, is China going to help fund the Democrats? I think Taiwanese interests outweigh China actually in this country, but that's a story for another day. Let's move on to my favorite freak. So watch this ugly freak. This guy, dude, I can't stand this guy. Congressman Sri Thinather.
I'm voting hell no on additional funding for ICE. ICE must not be funded. They are a rogue agency. They are terrorizing our citizens, our cities. I will not fund them. No funding for ICE.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
Whether you agree or disagree with ICE, fellas, this ugly freak, and I don't know what's wrong with his face, but he's an ugly freak. I've never seen someone this ugly in my life. He literally looks deformed. I've seen one person that's uglier. Do you do that? I remember the ugly people I've seen in my life. The ugliest person I met in my life was at school, and I was like, damn, that person's ugly, This guy's a contender for the ugliest person I've seen in my life. Why are you the one? It has to be a troll, right? It has to be to drive Republicans nuts. And immigrants too, man. Because I see this, and I know I'm a first-generation American, and I'm like, buddy, listen, man. Even if I agree with you, man, you can't be the one saying abolish ICE in an accent. Now we're gonna have a problem because you're making me look bad. In addition to you being an ugly freak. This is an ugly freak. How is this, dude? Politics is Hollywood for ugly people. Not so much these days. We got some real firebrands in there. We got AOC, young, hot, big booty Latina, as Alex Stein likes to say. Who else we got? We got who else is attractive in politics? The press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, But this is a level of ugly that, dude, I can't, dude. You're making immigrants look bad. You're making me look bad. Can't stand it. And this just drives everyone nuts, dude. If a Republican normal person hears an immigrant saying abolish ICE in an immigrant accent, they're going to not take you seriously. They're going to not take any immigrant seriously. They're going to be like, damn, this is some real self-interested nonsense. We already saw yesterday that Black people are not siding with immigrants anymore. How you doing, VVS? Let's continue. I thought this would be great to show you. This is very funny, dude. This is the Cuban embassy in France, and they posted this. Lenin died on January 21st, 1924. His thoughts and his work were essential to building the first socialist state in history and to providing the working class with the tool of its liberation. His political legacy continues to mark social struggles across the world. Now, obviously, there's a Lenin edit because every government is in the business of edits. You are not going to believe the music the Cuban embassy chose to put on the Lenin edit. You're not going to believe it. Let's play it. Dude, there is going to be a regime change in Cuba. There is going to be a regime change in Cuba. They already, today, they announced that they're going to do a blockade of oil of Cuba. And you're posting this? Look, man, I'm a Lenin fan myself. I like his writing. I think he was a smart fellow. Very, very good writer. Excellent writer. Dude, if you haven't read Lenin, you haven't lived. Don't take it from me. Take it from Steve Bannon. If you haven't read Lenin, the disservice Lenin is one of the greatest writers ever, dude. You try to read Mao and you're like, this is kind of boring. Try to read Xi Jinping thought, you're like, I get it, but it's boring. You read some Lenin and you're like, goddamn right, these anarchists need to go. These anarchists, these blankists have to go. You know, it gets you fired up, no matter your politics. I'm unstoppable. Is that... Dude, you are going to get nuked, retard. Cuba, it's over for you. You people are an embarrassment to communism. An embarrassment. The Chinese don't like you. The Venezuelans aren't giving you oil anymore. The Russians aren't helping you. And you're posting the Lenin edit with, I'm unstoppable, under it. No, you need to go. You need to go. You need to go. All right, let's continue. It's just ridiculous, man. I thought I would show this because in Schizo Watch, we show how everyone is being made to go schizophrenic. And this is mostly a U.S. product. It's coming out of the U.S. We've reviewed several times the bad analysis of figures like Sneako and Dave Smith. All right. I know we may have some Dave Smith fans here. That's fine. I disagree with him. You can't take that. You can't take a little disagreement. But Sneako genuinely doesn't know what he's talking about. I think he genuinely doesn't know what he's talking about. We did a long stream about it a while ago, probably 2 weeks ago. And his schizophrenic, positions that are based on ignorance, they're not staying here. They're not just in America. Apparently, the Persians, the Iranian regime, is now playing Sneako clips.
That's how you know it's Mossad/CIA.
می شود فهمید که موساد و سیا در این اتفاقات نقش داشتند. اگر هم فکر می کنید این توهم توطئه است، می توانید حرفهای مایک پومپئو را ببینید. رئیس سابق سیا، سال نو میلادی بر همه ایرانیان در خیابان و همچنین عوامل موساد که کنارشان راه می روند مبارک باشد.
So now the Persians are relying on internet clippers, internet streamers. Fuck, man, put me on Persian TV. Put me on Persian TV. That'd be great. I would love that. That'd be really funny. Put me on all of them. But I don't know if it makes more sense in Farsi or something, but in English, this is the discombobulator rantings of a peasant, but maybe it makes sense in Persian. I don't know. But it's good to know that things are being spread, that the American schizophrenia is being spread internationally by state governments. And finally, for Schizo Watch, we have here Myron Gaines, who is one of the few to have doubled down, tripled down on this Club O Cost question, as it's being dubbed. And here we see a man pushing 50, dancing around. Pushing 50, man. Pushing 50. I assume he made it. I don't know if you can order a custom Ku Klux Klan hood for your stream. Or maybe he ordered the Catholic version and like converted it, because we Catholics wear something like that sometimes. Who's being entertained by this? Like, this is just making you crazy. If listen, I'll be a conservative here for a second. I'm gonna be Glenn Beck. I'm gonna ask AI George Washington something. AI George Washington, when you were killing British people at the Battle of Yorktown, did you ever imagine that a Sudanese man would come to America, join the ranks of the Department of Homeland Security, retire to stream in Miami yelling at women, and then dance around in a Ku Klux Klan hood? Is that what you envisioned for the country, Mr. George Washington? I think the answer would be something like, get the fuck away from me, you spick. We don't want no Italians, no Latins in this country. But maybe we could get a real answer. No, that's not true. George Washington worked with Francisco de Miranda. You wouldn't say that. But maybe the real answer would be, no, I did not think that we were setting up a country where a Sudanese guy would dance around almost 50 in a fucking Ku Klux Klan hood. I didn't think that. All right, that's it. Let's catch up with the chat. We'll do the Goyim have gone insane. 112 says, wow, blind lead the Sneako into the ditch. Stafford says, ever notice how they started putting Schizo Mad ads on TV? I have noticed that, Stafford, and I want them tripled. I want triple Schizo ads, please, because people need their pills. They need their pills. Spring says, for an encore, he can dance to me, mom. All right. Sick. They are starting a race war. Obviously, it's 112. 112, you can take it that way, but I just take it as this is like a mental breakdown. This doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. All right. Let's move on to the Goyim have gone insane, because we're
The people are retarded.
All right, let's start here. This is the most surreal. This is the American Dali. This is the American Buñuel. This is surrealism incarnate. This is the end of the line. This is Baudrillard's predictions. Let's see what happened today in what I believe is California. All right, let's see what happened. Let's see how this ICE thing is going.
Tus joyas, monedas o chatarra de oro y llévate dinero en efectivo hoy mismo. No esperes más. Convierte tu oro en dinero para...
Brother, you can, all right, I understand some people support ICE and all that. This is analysis. We don't do that. We don't really opine here. But you can't tell me that chasing a guy on the highway with an M4 is a good immigration strategy. Like, you can't tell me that this isn't an accident waiting to happen. To add to the surrealism, in the beginning here, I assume it's a Hispanic guy because he's listening to the Spanish language radio. You can hear the ad. It says, sell your jewelry for cash today in Spanish. While what I assume is this Hispanic guy is being chased on the highway by the Keystone cops with an M4, begging people to let him into their car. I mean, dude, come on. This is insane. This is insane. This is an incident waiting to happen. Look, on a certain level, as an artistic piece, you have to sit back and I don't know if you've been to St. Petersburg, man, in Florida. There's the best Salvador Dali museum there in the world, okay? They're the best one. And you go in there and you're looking at this Spanish guy's amazing paintings, and you're like, God damn. How did we the Hispanics think of that? How did we think of that? You know? But when I see surrealism in real life like this, you know, like Donald Trump here is painting the canvas. He's shooting the Buñuel movie, you know, The Exterminating Angel. What's the other one? The Bourgeoisie movie. That one's great, you know. He's painting it, the melting clocks. And we're sitting here watching this. And we're going, I'm sorry, is this a good idea? Is this a good idea, folks? Come on. Dude, I know if you support ICE, you likely have a gun. You're likely a gun person. I'm from Florida. We have guns, right? Having people chased on the highway with an M4. This is the Keystone Cops, what we have here. This is the Keystone Cops. They're running around on a highway with an M4 chasing down some barefoot Hispanic guy. Is this a good idea? Is this a good idea? You know, on a serious note, this is not a good idea. I'm not going to add. Dude, you don't want to have people with fucking M4s, probably automatic weapons, running around on the public highway. What police procedure is this? The Pinkertons don't do this. The Miami police doesn't do this. Dude, even in Venezuela, they don't do this stuff, dude. Like this is crazy. Like this is wild. You can't have people on a highway with an M4. What if someone is like in their car and they go, this guy is running. He's probably running away from someone impersonating a federal agent. Because this has already been happening where people put on masks that aren't ICE agents. They put on the uniform and they do stuff, right? They go, all right, get into my car because I want to save your life. I'll take you to the police station. What are we going to have? Like Sicario 2 in the streets? Like get out of the car. Stop driving. You're creating incidents, you know? How you doing, Iron Hammer Forge? Iron Hammer says we have police running around on the public highway. No, I get it. We do, but it's usually a roadblock or something. It's usually like a checkpoint. This is just a guy running around with an M4. He's not even running, and he's in jeans, you know? I don't know, man. I don't think that this is actually useful. I understand that people want to limit immigration. I don't think this is useful. I think this is just a Salvador Dali painting in real life, and it doesn't end well. Like maybe I'm a pussy or something, but I don't know. I'm not even arguing from a humanitarian point. I'm not saying like, oh, this poor guy. You know, I'm saying this is a danger to society, I think. But all right, let's continue. Everyone has gone insane, man. Everyone has gone insane. This is Keystone Cops. For any youngins, the Keystone Cops was a great show in the 1920s about these cops that were like always messing up. I don't think this is a good idea. Let's continue. Now let's skip this. Here we have, all right. As I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of the police, you know? I'm not. All right. I don't trust cops. I met some cool cops. I used to work at a cigar store. They were there all the time, but I don't trust them on a personal basis. This cop, Fanon, was at the Jack Smith hearing this week, which is just some big political spectacle. The background you need to know is that this guy is one of these J6 cops who's a crybaby. This is what I really don't respect, a cop who's a crybaby. I don't care what happened to you. This like crying. This is little baby stuff, you know. And he's on that trend. He's on that trend. Clearly. And we see him here in Congress wearing a metal t-shirt because I think the trend has gone to his head, picking fights here. I think this is John Fetterman holding him back. What is this? Someone call his wife. Living with this man must be hell. This man is crazy. You know, look, man, we're neutral here. You know, J6, there was an investigation. Things came out. I get it. You know, some people supported it. Some people were against it. I get it. Okay? Some people support it. Some people don't. When I see a cop try to fight a civilian in a Dropkick Murphys t-shirt in Congress, I mean, what country are we in? What country are we in? This is third world behavior. This is something you would see in Venezuela, in Uganda, okay? But more importantly, I'm concerned for his wife. You know, police officers have to deal with a lot. They can be violent. And if he's threatening to fight someone on camera and saying that he should assault his children, grape his children, we need to lock this guy up, dude. This guy needs to be locked up for his own mental health. Imagine doing this in Congress. I went to Congress when I was a little kid. I went to DC, saw the archives and all that. And even as a kid, I wasn't like, you know, I want to start a fight in Congress. I want to punch them because there's some reverence there, right? There's something there. At some point, there was something there. But now we're wearing Dropkick Murphys t-shirts and threatening to fight people, saying, grape my children. It's cooked. The country's cooked. By the way, Aaron Hammer said something pretty funny here. You're the first Venezuelan man I've seen in the USA without facial tattoos. We are not allowed to police our country. Look, man. As you guys know, I'm a gendarmerie guy. I don't believe in the police. I think that it should be military, like in Chile or Italy. I think it's a better system. But if you're gonna police the country, Iron Hammer, and maybe it's just a philosophical disagreement here. Dude, come on. Chasing someone on the highway with an M4, I don't think is the best strategy, you know. But, you know. I didn't know so many Venezuelans had face tattoos, dude. Because most Venezuelans, I'll give you some Venezuela lore. My mother, my father, their whole generation passed on two values for sure, which was no weed and no tattoos. The tattoos were absent from Venezuela for a long time. It was looked down on. If you had one, you were a criminal. And the marijuana thing was, this is a gateway drug. You're not allowed to do it. And I don't know where these Venezuelans started to get the face tattoos. Dude, no one had these before. And now it's everywhere. Major's a second. That's funny. All right, let's continue here. I'm just going to play this out, dude, because we are reaching levels of insanity. Untested levels.
They're not from this planet. They're from a different planet, and we explained it in the book. That the planet that the Caucasians, Hispanics, Navajos, all of them come from a planet located inside of the Plutonian galaxy called planet Nern. So right there, just by knowing that means that they are not indigenous to this goddamn continent. You're not indigenous, motherfucker. Your ass is a lie. the motherfucking caves. Not indigenous to nowhere. Black people are indigenous to the entire planet.
As I said yesterday, everyone has a right to hang every once in a while, okay? I do it myself, you know. Venezuelans invented the arepa. We were the ones who were in charge. We have the oil. You know, everyone gets to hang every once in a while, okay? But we are reaching levels of kangaroo that are, dude, this is crazy. The Hispanics, we're from Nern. So us, the white people, and the Navajo tribe. So are the other tribes from I've read some of the, like the, not the Black Hebrew Israelite. I've read some of the Nation of Islam literature. I have a brother, I think his name's like Ibram X, not Ibram X Kendi. I've read some of it. It's called like Message to the Millennials, and it's an interesting book. I like this kind of stuff. I think it's funny. I like the Yaqub thing, you know, but now we're getting a little silly here. We're getting a little silly. The Hispanics, which means the Spanish-speaking people, the Caucasians, the people from the Caucasus, and the Navajo tribe are from planet Nern. What are we doing here? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Where is my Nernian passport? I need my Nernian passport. Do people like this? And this isn't black people. This is a particular sect of thought. Think that I'm denying it on camera in order to preserve it or something. I'm not a Nernian. I've never even heard of that place. Wink, wink. That's not happening. Me and the Caucasians and the Navajo, we're here to take over the world. I could assure you, if I was from the planet Nern, most people would have stayed there. Okay, seeing how Earth turned out. We're from the caves of the planet Nernites. People are going a little nuts, dude. A little nuts. 5%ers on Nation of Islam, says Stefford. That's Yaqub? Is that Yaqub, the 5%ers? I like the Yaqub story. I think the Yaqub story is interesting. I genuinely find it to be fascinating. I think it's like a wacky theory, obviously. But, you know, the children of Yaqub, it's funny. You know, I think I've seen white people get behind it. They're like, yeah, I am the Yaqubian menace. And it's like, you know, it's a funny story. And it is. Dude, there's truth in everything. All right? There's truth in everything. Now, they ascribe bad things to the children of Yaqub, but, dude, maybe if I go a little Jared Diamond here, you know, the white people, they have a lower time preference because they had to plan for the winter, right? It's just because of that, you know? In Chile, you know, Kon-Tiki, you know, we are the descendants of some of these, like, people who came over and they gave us the technology. You know, Graham Stephan speaks of this, but also Thor Vagasald, however you say his name. So everyone has a version of this, and some of it is like, you know, some based on reality. White people had to plan for the winter. Latin America was an abundant place. We were eating mangoes and shit, and yeah, it's different. But I don't think we're from the planet. I don't think white people are from the planet Nern. All right. Let's keep going here. Let's skip that. I have some disappointing news for the Hispanics. This man here, Bad Bunny. Listen. I hate this guy. I've never liked Bad Bunny. I've never liked Bad Bunny. If you don't speak Spanish, maybe you don't get it. The songs are about eating ass, okay? He put out a music video where he was in a dress. This is a level of tap dancing that I have not seen in a long time. He's Puerto Rican, but I won't hold that against him for now. But this is not possible. Like this man, I don't understand how he was made into this international sensation. If you want to go real deep into the lore, he was actually funded by Chavistas, okay? By people who were of the regime of Hugo Chavez. Let's not get into that. He has announced that he plans to wear a dress during the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show to honor Puerto Rican queer icons and generations of drag resistance and cultural rebellion. The NFL also announced that they had booked anti-Trump band Green Day to perform the Super Bowl opening ceremony. dude, you can't do this to us. We're having a good year, the Hispanics. We're having a good year. We have Marco Rubio. You know, we're looking good. And this guy, dude, I know who I'm siding with in the Dominican, Cuban, Puerto Rican war. I know this Puerto Rican is going to go on stage and make us all look ridiculous. Meanwhile, the Cuban man is making us look good. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I will save this for next time. And we'll end on this here. This one here is pretty good. All right. This one's pretty good. I want you guys to watch this without much judgment because everyone was judging this guy on Twitter. But I want you to watch this guy and really think about what he says, okay?
What if landlords could only charge 75% of the mortgage as rent, as in you are still responsible for 25% of your mortgage, as in you cannot continue raising the prices of rent when your mortgage price hasn't fucking gone up, as in caps on rent, as in people no longer exploiting the labor of fucking everyone who doesn't fucking own houses anymore. No longer exploiting others, people not profiting off of basic human necessities like fucking shelter. People not, like, I think we need to de-incentivize hoarding land. Because I'm sorry, they're not doing anyone any fucking favors, okay? Fair market value is a fucking made up. It's oh my god. It's not fair market value when their mortgage hasn't gone up, but they continue raising the rent prices. If you're all fucking doing it, what makes that fair?
I understand. Look, people were saying, especially right-wingers were saying, look at this guy. Toddler's understanding of the world. This is not expressed correctly. But this is not an anathema. This is Georgism, what this man proposes. We cannot hoard land. This is something that has been debated for centuries about land ownership, the size of estates. This is something that deserves a serious conversation. And this young man, I understand he's a little freaky looking, not my type of guy. You know, I have fashion friends. You know, that's just me. I wouldn't be caught dead with a man with a nose ring, but whatever, you know. But he is, let him express himself. He's putting the blame on the landlord. And obviously a landlord's going to be offended, you know. But the reality is that the landlord is not a mom and pop anymore, right? It's these corporations, bro. But seriously, they're hoarding the land. You can't make any more land. And the unfortunate thing is that when we look through our hell, because we live in hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
When we look through our kaleidoscope, we can only see maybe 2% of what's going on, of why this hell exists. Because if you are a landlord, you explain to this young man, listen, my cost of materials is going up since COVID. It's not me wanting to charge you more rent. They're raising the property tax. I have to comp for that. I'm fucked. You know, I'm just as fucked as you are, my friend. I have someone trying to outbid me who has corporate backing. I'm fucked, you know? So we're both in this system. We're both in hell. Now, his solutions may not be correct, but he's thinking on something, you know? He's thinking. He's actually not going insane. He's thinking. Let him think. Let him... Dude, come on. He discovered Georgism on TikTok by himself. I don't like seeing people shit on people like this because they are trying to learn something. All right. That was our segment, The Going of God Insane.
The people are retarded.
I think we have to do a little Kirk watch, dude. We have to catch up on Charlie Kirk, the man who will not be killed, the man who has ascended past everything.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. We'll
All right, Charlie Kirk time, dude. Let's see. We got some good new ones. This one here, we have some Agartha edits with Charlie Kirk. Let's watch.
Direct message from Yakub. You must protect the portal to Agartha. We are counting on you.
Your entire team has failed you. It's a 1v4. You must complete the mission and defeat Netanyahu and his goons.
A new Wigatic serum is being delivered to you. Use it wisely.
The bomb has been planted. You must defuse it.
Stay calm, young one. This flash won't affect you.
The enemy doesn't see you finish them all. Great work, soldier. You may return to Agartha.
Great work, soldier. Agartha is saved.
So obviously it's going to be a more white nationalist meme of Charlie Kirk. We have the Kirk Cinematic Universe with Aiden Ross, Jeffrey Epstein. Maduro is in that one. There's also this subset of memes that I found. This is posted by the Yakub page. A little ironic, a little funny, you know, very good stuff. It's good to see that Charlie Kirk, for all of the Marvel brain people, he lives in the multiverse now, right? Like he's in this universe, another one. He has made it into the right wing Wignat type memes. All right. What else we got? We got this. This one here was pretty good. This one here was pretty funny. I like this one. Because remember, we got scammed on the Greenland thing. I was very disappointed.
How far are you willing to go to acquire Greenland?
Well, we're going to have the U.S. citizens make so many AI videos of Charlie Kirk that Greenland will melt from the pollution, and then we buy it for next to nothing.
I cut a vibe with your suicide doors, life on the ropes. Two somebody they on coke. Two to slide when I stroke.
Now, I know it's ironic and it's funny, but there is a real element to this where Charlie Kirk is probably responsible for at least, 1 to 5% of the revenue of OpenAI and Google Sora? Maybe even higher, maybe 10%. Charlie Kirk built this country. He built the AI industry. It's Charlie Kirk's industry. Sam Altman, get the fuck out of here. Charlie Kirk built this. So there is a self-conscious, a cognizant recognition of the damage that these memes are doing to the planet. All right, let's continue. This one here. Now we have Minecraft Kirk universe with Jeffrey Epstein as well. This is some great stuff.
Wait, Jeff. You recording Charlie? Donald, we're waiting for you. Did he? You coming too?
So I watched the Minecraft movie in theaters. I wanted to see what the kerfuffle was about. And now we have the Minecraft Charlie Kirk. It's crazy how culture, it's stuck, but it's also not stuck. Like, you can make more universes here. This is just as entertaining as the Minecraft movie. To me, at least. Maybe I'm just low IQ spick over here, but it is entertaining. You know, it's bullshit, but it's entertaining. Where's our clip?
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
And this was made clearly with some love. We have POTUS there. I don't know how they reconcile that some are dead and some are alive, but for the final one, and before you get offended, all right, I said when Charlie Kirk died that the people who would miss him the most are the people who hated him in life. Because that's how the world works, dude. It's just how it works. It's a thin line between love and hate. It's a very thin line. Very thin line. There's a reason millennials are sounding more like boomers every day that passes, because they hated the boomers so much. Not to quote Jesse Lee Peterson here, but you become what you hate. You know, you become what you hate. You become what you hate. And while Kirk friends and foes are in the digital realm honoring this man through humor, through memes, continuing his existence, we can see that the people who actually really love him enough are the liberals that hated him in life, who are now dressing up as him for Drag Queen Story Hour.
I was Charlie Kirk for drag number.
You spoke the truth when the cost was high. He lived for Jesus, unafraid to die. We are Charlie
All you ladies pop your pussy like this. Shake it from don't stop your this pussy just like you should. Monday.
All right, look, you may be offended if you're someone of the Kirk verse. You like Charlie Kirk. I never liked him personally, but I feel like I was the only one who mourned him. I'm going to tell you the truth here, dude. Listen, you may be like, oh, this is desecrating Christianity, because it's obviously mocking, right? Like the sign of the cross. Charlie Kirk was not a Catholic. But I have to tell you, this shows how much they loved the man. Charlie Kirk is looking down right now going, God damn, they miss me down there. They miss me so much. That blazer looks like something that Charlie would wear. This required actual thought and money to put together. When someone hates you this much, that they are dishonoring you with imitation. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. The liberal hater of Charlie Kirk, the drag queen, I'm sure this person hates him. I'm sure this person said, I'm glad that he has died. But if you're really glad that someone died, you don't even think about them when they're gone. All right? But if you dress up as them, if you resurrect them, if you necromance, if you incorporate it into your own world, it means that you had to have loved it. You had to have loved it. Have you ever done that with someone you hated, dressed up as them? You go to work dressed up as them? You do your hobby dressed up as them? No, you haven't. Because you genuinely hated the person. This, my friends, this is true love. This is true love. And I know it's controversial to say, but guys, it's just true. And I told you from the start, the people who would miss him the most are the people who hated him the most. Let's catch up with the chat. Let's get to Jaime, Wetback, or James Fishback. Stafford says they became the very thing they swore to destroy. Exactly. I hate everything. How you doing, man? Missed you yesterday. How's New York? Seen so many OF girls become economists and libertarians since I talked about the hoe tax. The dismal science, dude. I don't even blame them, dude. Maybe they'll come up with better economics. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll explain it better. You know, my producer has got me on this Thomas Sowell kick. I always hated Thomas. I was like, this guy's an idiot. It's just because he didn't explain it correctly. I understand incentives now. I get it. but he didn't explain it well. Maybe the OF girls will explain Keynesianism in a way that's understandable to the layman. Thought about that? Boss says, he built this city on rock and roll. I guess he did. He built this. Charlie Kirk built this. 112 says, true, Leo. Thank you, 112. I'm glad we have some agreement. I thought it would be controversial, but I'm glad we have some agreement. And King, I Hate Everything says, Erica should copyright the name Charlie Kirk. Somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if she's on that, my man. Wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's get to Jaime Wetback James Fishback, my favorite candidate for Florida governor. We'll start with this. By the way, for any new people here, I'm neutral and I don't vote. So you can take my word for it. Let's see here, because we're always ahead of the game on this show. We're always ahead of the game. I flatter myself too much. We're always ahead of the game. I said it months ago. This guy is using the Mamdani strategy. And finally, someone asked him about this directly. And let's see his answer. By the way, his overcoat, I saw this today. This shit goes kind of hard. I want this overcoat. And I'm not an overcoat fan. I'm not an overcoat fan. This is a cool overcoat. I like this. Does anyone know the brand of this overcoat? I'm sure this is expensive. I just bought the J. Crew sweater for like $60. It's on sale. Go check it out. 100% cotton. This is a great overcoat. Let's listen to this.
So, I don't agree with Zoran Mamdani on nearly anything. I think we're both good-looking men, and I'll appreciate the comparison there. I think what he ran on was affordability. Now, he and I are going to try to get to the same destination of affordability. That is not worrying about making decisions in your everyday life about what to pay for and how to pay for it. That means being able to move off of rent and being able to own your home, own the dirt under your feet. That means being able to get a great paying job. Now, Zoran has his approach to do that, and we have our approach to do that. And the beautiful thing, as Supreme Court Justice Brandeis opined in the 1920s, is that each state, each city can pursue its own experiments. Zoran will pursue his own experiments in the dyed wool of socialism, and we will pursue our experiment here in unapologetic capitalism and Americanism. And may the best man win on who delivers that vision. But look, I think genuinely, Zoran wants to make life more affordable for New Yorkers. Whether his plan actually does that, I'm not convinced of that. What I know is that Zoran and I share the same vision of affordability. That's all we share, but how we are going to deliver that for the 67 counties, and yes, 67 counties, that's going to be a little bit different, and we're going to continue to share that plan across the state.
Whether you agree or disagree, I do appreciate this. No player hating here. By the way, the audio was bad, but on them. It wasn't on me. I only heard it in my left too. No player hating. We're both good-looking guys. He has some ideas I disagree with, but let's see how it works out. Let him cook. Let him try it out, okay? This is very, very, very classic. Classic, like American, maybe like a Republican classic. Small R, I don't mean the party. We are a country of experiments, and we run them here. We see what works. We learn from each other. But I was pretty sure that he was copying some of the strategy. And it seems like he is. And I'm glad to see this coming back. I will say, though, I've seen a lot of pushback on Fishback lately, which is understandable, where people are saying, dude, this guy is just promising, whatever people want. He can't do any of what he's saying. He's just promising stuff. And I made that criticism myself. I'm like, how are you going to pay $1 billion to solve the orange greening problem? How are you going to do that? So people are starting to turn on that. They're saying, like, is this, as a good Southern knows, if it sounds too good to be true, it ain't. This is something that people are weary of. You cannot overpromise. Zoran Mamdani very cleverly promised a couple things: free buses, free childcare. What else did he promise? I don't know. But it was very specific issues. Mr. Fishback here, Mr. Wetback here, he's promising a little bit of everyone. My Colombian brother over here, Grand Colombia, is promising too much. I see J Boss says Uniqlo has very similar overcoats. Dude, you're going to make me jump out the window because I was just at Uniqlo a month ago. We only have one in Florida, and I have to drive to Orlando. Their pants I didn't like. I did not like their pants. I ended up going to the Gap for pants, and the Gap makes good pants. Spring says, J. Krupa, remove the carriage return. What do you mean, dude? I'm not a J. Crew fan. I just bought it because it was on sale and it was actually cotton. King, I Ate Everything says, how much power does the governor of Florida have? If you flex your muscle, you have power as governor of Florida. When you flex your muscle, you do have a lot of power. You do. Because it's not like New York, where New York, you're subject to New York City. Miami's not New York level, so you do have more power as the governor. And we saw a little flexing. We saw a little flexing from Ron DeSantis, not in the way that I'd like, but we saw a little flex. 112 says, I think Mamdani is sincere, so does Trump. Attention always wins, ass Trump. Right. That's the thing. I think that we can, and this is what I appreciate about this, we can appreciate at least earnestness and sincerity. Whether they can deliver, that's something else. All right. I wanted to show you guys here this. We played this clip, but Max Nordau, who I've explained in the past, this is some guy who works for DeSantis most likely. I hate this guy. He's an idiot. He posted the full clip of when he said, I'm going to send you back to the ghetto, which was objectively funny. That was really funny. To like own Fishback, and it's even funnier, so I thought I would let you in on this. This is so funny, dude.
You said you were going to release your 23andMe results a month ago. When do you plan to release your 23andMe results?
When they get back to me.
When do you expect that?
I don't know. I don't work for 23andMe. When they send me them back, I will send them back.
Point of order here. I think it's insane that anyone would use 23andMe. You just hand your DNA
Well, yeah, I know.
over
Because
to
remember, Max is Max is a racial purist. He's an ethnic purist. He only wants a certain type of people to be in government.
That's just kooky stuff. No, I mean, Fishback's the guy. Fishback's the guy who laughed.
Then why would you insist it? Then why would you insist on it?
You're the one who bragged. You're the one who bragged. Fishback, listen. You're the one who says that Byron has a dark vision.
Byron does have a dark vision. He does have a dark vision. He's a disgrace. He came from the ghetto. I want to send him back to the ghetto. And you can print that if you want. I don't care what you say, Max. You're a stupid, feckless Republican who's trying to tone police us. I and the rest of us are trying to save our country. And you're worried about me calling a black man Byron? Go join the Democrat Party, Max. Seriously.
You said you were going to release your 23andMe results a month ago.
I'm going to send him back to the ghetto dude, that is so funny. That is some Drake level shit. I've been laughing at this for weeks. Dude, it's too funny. It's so funny. That's something you say to your hoe. I took you out of the ghetto. I'll send you back. When I met you, you were in the ghetto. And when I leave you, you will go. That is so funny. I don't know if it wins, but it's fucking funny, dude. And there was another clip from the space. And we can see here, this is what I'm confused about with Fishback. Fishback, you saw it a little bit in that clip with more context. He is flirting here a little bit with the online takes on the Jewish people. You know, in that earlier clip, he said, you know, Max is a racial purist, meaning that Max only wants a Jewish guy to be governor, which is not true because Max is a fucking idiot who likes Ron DeSantis that's Italian and Byron Donalds who's Belizean, but whatever, you know. And we see here in this clip that he's still flirting with this, and I don't know if this is a good electoral strategy.
I'm currently at the Canoe Creek Tesla supercharger. I just got here. The U.S. Marshals can come pick me up unless you yourself are lying to hurt a candidate. What you have
do you have any judgments against you in court right now? Yes or no?
Why would they want this guy? Come
do you
on,
have
AB,
any judgments against you in court?
AB, listen to me. You got to stop cutting him off. Let him talk. All
AB,
right, go ahead.
First off, I have no idea who you are. It's not your real name. My name is James Fishback.
It is my real name, and you don't have to know who I am. I have to know who you are, and I do.
So it is your real name or it isn't? Which one is it?
It is my real. It's a nickname, short for Abraham.
Oh, okay. So
gang fights.
we know. Well, we know what motivates. Well, we know what motivates you. Then, okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Guys.
So obviously, you know, he's saying that Abraham is a man of the Jewish faith, and what motivates him is obvious. So dude, I don't. Not winning Palm Beach. I'll tell you that. You're not winning Palm Beach. I think the parallel with Zoran is even more striking here, where Zoran had a lot of trouble with the Jewish community as well, except for with younger Jewish people. I don't know if this is a good strategy. All right. And finally, here we have, this is a little bit goober here. This is a little goober, what he's saying here about GTA 6.
When it finally comes, when GTA 6 finally comes, we are going to have a 24-hour long GTA 6 marathon in the governor's mansion. The top students, every single top student at our public schools is going to come up here and play a little GTA 6. Look, you need a governor who can do a little carjacking in GTA. I grew up playing San Andreas, which is a very interesting game. I do not condone beating up hookers in GTA 6. Just make that very clear.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And so here we have a little bit of that Andrew Jackson, a little bit of that Hispanic populism. You're a top student. If you are a top student, you come to play Grand Theft Auto with me at the governor's mansion. You know, like, it's a little goobery. But this is what I'm saying. He's promising a lot of stuff. And I know that one's kind of a joke, but people are looking around me like, huh? What? Okay. It would be kind of cool. I'm an Andrew Jackson fan myself. I'm like, yeah, dude, throw a party at the governor's mansion. It's next to FSU. We'll fucking go hard, bro. We'll throw a rager. The white kids at FSU, the bros, the frat bros. Hell yeah, bro. Let's drink some Yingling, some Coors Light. You know, that. But it's a little, that his Hispanic side is coming out, bro. That's like something I would propose if I were running for governor. The first day I'm governor, everybody gets a free car. Everyone gets a free car. How are we going to pay for it? I don't know. We're going to get it. That's very Hugo Chavez. Very, very, all right, Mr. Fishback, all right. I hate everything. Says, bad thing is Byron, that he's a Republican. If he was a Democrat, Al Sharpton would have been in the streets protesting against Fishback. The thing is, dude, we've seen clips on the show where black people are saying, hey, yo, Fishback, come get this guy. You know, like they are not pleased with Byron either, because Byron is a tether, may I remind you. All right. I know I've been edging you. I know I've been edging the audience. We have to get to the main story, which is Andrew Tate and this fallout from what they're calling the Club Accost. I want to start here with a clip from Adam Sosnick. I'll let you in on a little secret. I've met this guy before. I met him at a club in Miami Beach 4 years ago or 2 years ago. It was my buddy's birthday. He was like, yo, come out, bro. Come out to the club. I was like, I don't want to go to Miami Beach. It's like an hour for me. I was like, no, dude, it'll be fun. And I saw him in the corner, this Adam Sosnick guy. And I was like, dude, that's the guy from PBD. No way. But I didn't talk to him because I was like, I've always found this guy a little bit sketchy myself. I didn't go to talk to him. And especially after what he says here on the Rubin Report in regards to Mr. Fuentes. Dude, people need to start watching their words, man. Whether you love or hate the guy, people got to watch their words. Let's just watch and see what he had to say on the Rubin Report.
It's not actually Nick's fault. I mean, he's a generation of kids that grow up on the internet. And my North Star, other than Charlie Kirk, is one question. Have you ever been punched in the face? Because there's a big difference between socializing and social media. And there's a whole generation of kids who've never been punched in the face. And if there's no ramifications of you saying the N-word, and if there's no ramifications of you being Jew hater, what do you think's going to happen? So Charlie Kirk, as some of you talking about him playing basketball, he's outside socializing. He's in real life. There's a generation of kids that have grown up on the internet who have never been punched in the face. Now, I'm not condoning that anyone gets punched in the face.
You kind of are condoning that someone gets punched in the face. You kind of are. You kind of are. You're kind of saying that, and we'll continue.
Well, when you get punched in the face, you stop saying these things. I dare Nick Fuentes to go out in the middle of Chicago and start saying the N-word. His face may be rearranged a little bit. So that's what I'm recommending. Last point.
Also, Adam is from Miami. He's from Miami Beach. We don't punch people in the face here. We have stand your ground. This is irresponsible. And as you can see, the brain trust is here. You have Brandon Tatum, the genius. I can't stand Brandon Tatum. And Dave Rubin. But we don't punch people in the face here, dude. Like, you don't start a fight in Florida. You will die, more than likely. We had a sheriff, a retired sheriff, who had popcorn thrown at him in a movie theater, and he shot someone and killed them. He got off because of stand your ground state. He said he felt threatened. So dude, maybe I'm a little bit too responsible here, but let me make myself big for this. Do not punch people in the face. Do not get punched in the face. It's not a joke. If you get punched in the face, you will hit the pavement and your head will break and you will die. Okay? It's never worth having a physical fight. Don't ever do it. If you want to check someone, I don't recommend it. It's not a good idea. Do not punch people in the face. If you hate Nick Fuentes, which is fine. I know we have some Fuentes haters in chat. I'm neutral on the subject. Guys, don't punch him in the face. You don't want to deal with all the legal bullshit that comes with that. You don't want to deal with potentially killing someone. It's not a good idea, in my opinion. In my humble opinion. All right, let's continue.
It was just MLK Day. So I collect friends. I'm still friends with my friends from elementary school, middle school, high school, college, football, basketball court. You know, me and Brandon used to play basketball all the time. He was the best. So I have friends, and I can find the good in people, even if they suck. Even Nick Fuentes, I'm like, come on, buddy, let me teach you how to shoot a basketball. Come on, Myron, even though you're a raging anti-Semite, I do agree with some of the stuff you do in the red pill content. Come on, Tate, we are homies, but I'm not necessarily condoning some of the things you say or do. So I'm not that dude that's saying, what? I hate you now. That's just not me. So as far as these guys go, it's number one, it's hard to put me in a box because I'll be in the club just as much as these guys will be in the club. I won't
pushing 40, pushing 50 in the club. Not a good look.
Be playing that song. Let me tell you something. I talked about getting punched in the face, That could be verbally. That could be obviously physically.
No, it can't be verbally. Because you said punching in the face. There's no verbal punch in the... I'm not trying to be a lawyer asshole here. When you say punch in the face, you're describing assault or battery. Punching someone in the face involves you making a fist and striking them in their face. And I don't get mixed up in that, dude. I have a very sensitive nose. I've always had a sensitive nose. I'm not getting punched in the face. I am not getting punched in the face. I don't like having a nosebleed. I already have to deal with it. I'm not getting punched in the face.
That can be emotionally. Let me tell you a story. And this is what changed basically my perspective on how to deal with people even when you're enraged. When I'm 13 years old, for my bar mitzvah, I get a bike. This is my bike. This is my car. This is the favorite thing I ever had in my life. Because why? I have freedom now. And I have the bike parked in front of my house. And these guys come and steal my bike. And they're driving it away. And all of a sudden, it's actually a black guy that stole the bike. And this Latino guy shows up with his kid. Because they live down the neighborhood. I knew the kid. He goes, come on, get in the car. We're going to go get the bike. I'm like, okay. I get in the car. We drive down the street. And we see the guys trying to stuff the bike into a car. He starts honking the horn. Boop, 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 boop. The guys freak out. They run. I get my bike back. This is my bike. It's my bar mitzvah present. I'm so excited. And he goes, come on, drive your bike home. And I'm going to follow you home. We get to the house. I'm freaking out. I'm 13, dealing with a, essential assault, or whatever kind of robbery this is.
We're watching this for a reason.
And I come running in the house, and I have a very contentious relationship with my dad. They stole my bike. They stole my bike. He's like, who? And I go, these N-words. And my dad looks at me and slaps me across the face. And dude, my face is numb for a week. He goes, we don't use that word in this house. I'm shaking like crazy. He goes, I can buy you a new bike, but I can't buy you class and I can't buy you respect. Never use that word.
First of all, I'm going to say this. I don't believe this story. Adam grew up in Miami Beach. There is no black community in Miami Beach. If you want to get into the history of it, It's actually kind of interesting. In Coconut Grove, you'll see the remnants of this little wall. It's like a 3-foot tall wall that was built when Miami was segregated for blacks and whites. I guess the Anglos and the blacks, right? And there's a great documentary about this wall. And there's a very funny moment where this black guy is like, dude, we love that wall. Dude, we would go over there and steal a bike and just hide it behind the wall. You know, it's very funny because, you know, they're not mad about it. Things got figured out in Miami. Okay, so I don't believe this story. Secondly, as a kid, I never did this. Did you as a kid come home and tell Dad, these N-words stole my bike? That's revealing a little something about Adam that I did not know. I've never said that. Look, I'll be perfectly frank, dude. I'll be perfectly frank. Maybe it's because I'm not like a second generation American. My troubles were like, this fucking Colombian thief stole my, you know, like that kind of stuff, because it's inter-Latino, right? This Puerto Rican guy, you know, like it's like that, you know? To your own people, too. You're like, this Chilean guy, you know, we're good at stealing. That's the one thing we're good at, you know, like that. But I was never like, these N-words stole my bike. I never said that to my dad. I never said that to my dad. So I think it's a little revealing here about who Adam might be, because I'm... Did you ever come home and tell your dad, hey, Dad, and he's not, this isn't some guy growing up in the 60s. This is the 90s, Miami Beach. Miami Beach was gays and Jews. And some Cubans. I know that because my parents lived there in that period. Come on. All right. Let's catch up with the chat. We'll keep going. I had everything says, isn't this the same man that said Zoran was going to put Sharia law and make assumptions that he was a radical Islamist, jihadist too? Yeah, maybe Adam, maybe you should listen to yourself. Maybe you should listen to yourself. And it reminds me of the scene from The Sopranos, but backwards. Which one's that? The one where Tony takes that guy's teeth out? And I saw Ephra's here. How you doing, Ephra? I saw your comment. I don't know if you deleted it. Ephra, please make your prediction over the weekend about Iran. I want to hear it because you were right last time. Please, Ephra. I'm glad you're here. Let's continue because we have to make everything on time. So just as a catch-up, this is what we're referencing here today. This is the event that took place in my hometown. You can see here that Andrew Tate met up with Clavicular and Nick Fuentes. All of these guys are notorious for various reasons. They you know. But Myron Gaines, the thing that in common is a contentious relationship, to say the least, with the Jewish people. This is the event we're referencing. Okay, all right, so let's go on. Because we had this interview, which Adam was talking about here, and he posted this clip called Miami Don't Play That Pro-Hitler Shit. Let's watch the clip that Adam posted.
But truthfully, I don't see what I should have done differently.
Miami Beach, they don't play this game, dog. All these guys that basically own the clubs, run the city, it's not just Jews. Cubans, Venezuelans, Jamaicans, Haitians. No. It's one big melting pot, Miami. And the universal truth in Miami is, don't bring that BS here.
I totally understand some people are offended by it. I get it. And perhaps maybe I'm just numb. Perhaps I've been through so much shit in my life that my brain's just numb, perhaps. But if you were to put on a song, any song, saying, I hate half-black loudmouths, I wouldn't give a f***.
Now, Adam here is saying something which I want to clarify. Miami Beach is not Haitian, and it's not Jamaican. Haitians live in Lemonville. Jamaicans live in Broward. We have some Jamaican pockets in Homestead and Kendall. But this is like clearly untrue. I'll tell you this. This is my alpha here, is that he's lying. That's not true. Venezuelans, yes, some. Cubans, yes, some. Most people have left Miami Beach. Miami Beach is now sterile Dubai. Okay, it's some Anglos, Jews who have always been there. Even the gays have left. Okay, and it's a bunch of rich people. So I don't know what he's talking about here. There is some element that's true. In Miami Beach, they tried to open a restaurant that was pro-Castro. That was shut down real quick. But even the city of Miami, it's not really like a melting pot. It's kind of like a tapestry with a melting pot for the Hispanics more than anything. It's not a melting pot with like, you know, the Haitians and the Hispanics and the Jamaicans and the Jews. It's a tapestry and we all get along, sure, but let's not exaggerate either. You'll see mixed Hispanic couples, of course. But it's not the same thing. Everyone gets along, but it's not the way that he's describing. So Miami Beach is not really this, just to be clear. I see 112 asks, well, are you implying that race is of great import? No, in Miami, I think race is not of great import. I think ethnicity is of importance here. Like, Miami is one of the few places in the world where we refer to the white Americans as Anglos. In Spanish, you'll be like, oh, he's an Anglo. Because you have to clarify, because there's so many different people. You know, you're like, oh, he's Venezuelan. Oh, he's Nicaraguan. He's from Sweetwater. Oh, he's Dominican. He's from Alapata. So everyone has their spot, but everyone gets along. Like, but it's based on ethnicity, which is a very Hispanic trait. It's not really based on race. So yeah, I just don't think this is true, Adam. I don't know what Miami you're living in. And I would fully expect a club in Miami Beach to play this song. They don't care about any of this stuff. They only care about money at this point. The club owners are all corporate now. If they made an extra dollar by playing that song, they would play it every night. They don't give a shit. It's not the old days. Everything says, it reminds me of the scene from The Sopranos. Oh, the bike scene. Got you. How you doing, Mr. Elu? So yeah, this is just not true. Ethnicity is very important in Miami. Like, ethnicity is important. People, they really care about that. I remember I have a friend in Little Haiti who explained to me how Zopound formed, which is a notorious Haitian gang formed by second-generation Haitians. And he told me, dude, it started off as a self-defense thing because we all went to Edison High School, which is in Little Haiti. And that was a traditionally Black American school, you know, ethnically Black American. And they showed up and they were being made fun of, so they formed this gang. So ethnicity is important. This idea of like, it's not important, I don't think that's true. Let's continue here. So this is another clip because we're going to show the betrayal of today, but this was the initial betrayal of Andrew Tate, of his friends or friends, who knows.
I didn't play it. I didn't ask him to play it. I didn't dance. I didn't sing. In fact, the only time you see me on there is me storming out of the bus saying this is ridiculous and leaving. But I know why it was played. It was played because of this. It was played because it gets traction in a world where everybody is bored of everything all of the time. And that's why these young people are encouraged constantly to try and do the most shocking thing possible.
So we saw this yesterday. You see he's downplaying his role in the situation. He's saying he thought it was inappropriate. Okay. Now, what happened today? Well, before we get to today, I wanted to show a clip here. This is Mr. Fuentes attacking Adam, who we just saw, for being on the Patrick Bet David show, which is a comment that's often echoed in the Patrick Bet David comments.
Honestly, Patrick Bet David, you should know better. You're a grown man. You claim to be a patriot. You're a 47-year-old man. And you have this whole shtick, I'm an alpha male, I'm a businessman, I'm no nonsense, I'm not woke. You're buying into this crap? You're buying into this? What a joke. You should know better. Everybody should know better. And you should have your friends back. Andrew Tate is your friend. He's been on your show for years. He is being unfairly attacked, and he is forced to defend himself because he is vulnerable. Why are they going after him? Because he is vulnerable.
So what's important here is that Nick Fuentes' generational run, as it's been referred to, was actually started by PBD. PBD is the guy who put him on first and sort of normalized him to eventually go on Piers Morgan. And there's a rupture here between an important cell, which is the PBD cell, very important politically. They got Trump elected. They normalized Nick Fuentes. And there's a rupture here. There's a direct call out, hey, you're not loyal. You're doing things for money. So we see that there is a straining here. And by the way, this isn't just gossip. I want to get to a deeper point once we get through this, okay? Today, Andrew Tate goes on this podcast. The guy who hosts it, his name escapes me. I'm not big brothering him. His podcast is bigger than the show. That's fine. We have here Andrew Tate talking about Nick Fuentes, okay? Because remember, it's been like a slow betrayal of everyone by everyone. By everyone. The only people who have doubled down and tripled down have been Mr. Fuentes, Myron, who we saw dancing in a Klan hood. These other guys, the tough guy who lost his big fight, Andrew Tate, is denouncing everyone.
Fucking clown show.
Everyone has an accusation except for Nick Fuentes, and he's a virgin, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons, probably the only reason Nick is still on the internet is because he avoids women. Because if he had had a sexual history by now, they would have caught him. Nick's problem is that you get 3 lives. The first life is to cancel you. They've already canceled him. But now he's kind of back. So he did good. But they canceled me and I came back. I invented coming back from cancellation. I was the first motherfucker to ever get canceled and get bigger. First one. Nick got canceled, didn't get bigger. He disappeared for a long time. I got canceled and got bigger. Realest nigger alive. I invented that. Second, they try and put you in jail. Third, they kill you. The problem that Nick has, and I actually really like Nick, is that if his taxes are in order and he ain't touching women, they haven't got much they can get him with on stage 2. And that doesn't mean they let you off. That means they skip stage 2 and they just kill you. Fuck.
So why this is important is beyond, this softening towards his relationship with Nick Fuentes. He's putting out something here which is very on theme with the penguin meme we saw at the start and the Adam video we saw, which is you are opening boxes here, Mr. Tate. You are saying that in order to extinguish the world of Nick Fuentes, someone could take violent action and end his life. Now, you may not take it that way, casual viewer being like, oh, yeah, Leo may be exaggerating here. King Leo doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm saying, dude, because in America, this is becoming a problem where people use words very loosely. When you say they're gonna skip stage 2 in order to get you to be quiet, and that means ending your life, you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who's listening to this. You don't know if someone, a mentally disturbed person, is going, oh, I never thought of that. Yeah, if I do this, then I'm a legend, and I end his life, and he's done. It's been spiraling since Luigi Mangione. But this is a problem here where you can't, I don't like opening Pandora's boxes that you don't know where they end up. I wouldn't like this said about anyone. I don't think that it's appropriate. Let's continue. What else did he have to say? Because here he fully denounces the Fuentes movement, which was unusual to me.
And it goes so far the other way that they haven't escaped any prison. They're back in a new prison, which is blaming the Jews for everything. So there's certainly some valid arguments, and I've been very clear on what those arguments are. But I have to be very honest with this anti-Semitic crap. I have to be very honest. And maybe Nick Fuentes and Dan Bilzerian and people who are more extreme than me will disagree. I'm not sure. But I believe Dan Bilzerian had Jewish business partners. I don't know what Nick would do. But if I came to film a movie in Hollywood, in a movie studio, and I got paid $100 million and I'm making a movie, and halfway through I find out that one of the 300 people who work for the film crew is Jewish, am I supposed to stop making the movie? Because according to the anti-Semitics on the internet, I should instantly do a salute and walk off and give all the money back. And it's very interesting these people pretend to have these views because none of these people have suffered for their views. They don't even have real accounts. They don't even have their face or their name on their account. They haven't been to jail. They haven't been locked in their house. They haven't had death threats. They haven't had the government try and take their children from them. They haven't had all of their money stolen. They haven't had anything bad happen to them, but they expect you as a famous person to martyr yourself.
So there's a couple reframes in there. But the important thing is that Andrew Tate is saying that he would not do things that are offensive to the Jewish community out of economic self-interest, financial self-interest. And that's okay. I mean, that's a reason to not be mean to people. That's true. And I think that in the analysis of morality, there's a model. It's like stage 1, you know. However, I'm curious because this is the same guy who, because we're talking about this club accost thing, there's video going around of him blasting this song by Kanye West, N-word, Heil, H-word, and getting into his Bugatti and doing a salute. And I maybe I just have a longer memory. I remember Andrew Tate saying some very controversial things about the chosen people. So what is going on here? I'm confused as to what his actual position is. Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Back before this club event, you were okay with doing this kind of stuff. But now you're not. What changed? I'm very curious. Because as an analyst, man, this could be in Schizo Watch. Now you're just changing the whole thing around. Now you've platformed Mr. Fuentes. You've praised him in the past. You have agreed with his points. You have engaged with the same item of issue here, the song. But now you're changing the story. Now you're just making people schizophrenic because you're not being consistent. And at least there's some honesty saying it's financial self-interest. But I find this to be, if cowardly is not the word for it, I mean, inconsistent would be the word for it. And I don't appreciate inconsistent people because this is just ridiculous. What do you actually believe then, Andrew Tate? What do you actually believe? Because if we're playing this game where you can't categorize me, so I'm going to do everything, you're essentially Jon Stewart. Are you Jon Stewart? Is that what you're trying to do? Joe says, somebody already went to Nick's house and was shot by the cops. Yeah, I do remember that, Joe, exactly. And that's the thing is you're opening a box, you're disavowing the whole thing. And again, this would be a life lesson to anyone watching is be careful. As they say in Spanish, bro, create a reputation and go to sleep. When you're doing this apology tour here, Mr. Tate, it really just comes off as pathetic, even to a neutral observer. I don't have strong opinions on Andrew Tate, but I've followed Andrew Tate. I've seen him say things about the Jewish people. I've seen him say things about Nick Fuentes. And this is a 180-degree shift. So I'm curious. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Because this here is really where I am starting to draw the line. People are just making stuff up. Andrew Tate is essentially positioning himself as the Martin Luther King of his generation. I don't believe what any of these people have to say anymore. I think they're lying. There is no way that this stuff is true. And it is designed, I think, to make you insane, to make you paranoid. Before I play it, I'll give you the wisdom I've given you in the past. You must kill the cop in your head. Put on some John Mouse. This idea of we're being watched all the time, the panopticon is in your head. Break free of that. They are watching you all the time. They are. The NSA can monitor every single call. Are you going to be a slave to that? Or are you going to be an adult and move past it? Because the Patriot Act is not getting rescinded. Grow up. Stop being paranoid. You will just drive yourself crazy. As I've said before, the story of the East German Drunkard Society. a group of young men who got tired of fighting communism and said the Soviet Union only exists in my head. Did they put him in prison? They couldn't, because they just acted normal. And then when the wall came down, they were like, there's more space now. It's kind of cool. This is how you should be. Foucault, says Mr. Elo, exactly. Everything is a prison. You live in hell.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
But you don't have to behave that way. So let's see what Andrew Tate is putting in people's heads.
I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone on any podcast. When I got out of jail, I was getting extremely well-written, actually convincing messages to kill myself. On DM, handwritten letters sent to my address, email. And I'd read them and I'd say, one of the world's best psychologists must have constructed this letter. Why? They're trying to convince me to kill myself. They want me gone. And I'd be reading these letters and I'd sit and say, no man would have written this way, and no woman who's never met me could even think this way. This is a psyop. A psychologist and his team sat there and thought, we've watched all his videos. How do we convince this man to finally just give up? He's locked in his house. He can't get out. He's looking at all these charges. He's facing 10 years in the worst jail in Europe. He'll probably get stabbed to death in there anyway. Surely we can convince him to kill himself. And nobody knows this, Jack. But when Tristan and I would do emergency meetings, we would choose words from these letters. And
this is insanity. This is insanity. I don't believe Andrew Tate. I don't believe him. I don't think that the FBI opened COINTELPRO 2 or the Romanian FBI and hired the best psychologist at MI6 and CIA to write him letters so that he would end his life. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. And I think if he believes it, then maybe it's a little more excusable. I think he's just lying. And I think this is made so that you go crazy. So that you start thinking, oh man, if I get too uppity, then they're going to send me letters to make me kill myself. No, they're not. They're not. They're not. I don't know if this is cope, but I don't trust that this is reality. And this is a dangerous message again. What are you saying here, man? I don't believe that you're the Martin Luther King of our generation. I don't believe it. I don't. I don't believe you're the Jesse Jackson. I don't believe you're John Lewis. I don't. I know you're half black. You're not MLK Jr., dude. You're not. You're not. You're not. And to lie like this in order to get out of bad publicity is so embarrassing. And it's so stupid because all you're doing is spreading schizophrenia. Guys, you're being watched. You are. Accept it and move on. Don't let them tell you. Effer says, I know what you mean, but might be watching you or they might not, but living paranoid is not healthy. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Effer, I operate as if they're watching you all the time because they probably are. Dude, my producer worked in the Somali government. Okay. He's English, but he worked in the Somali government. He told me in Somalia in the 2010s, they already had the technology to store every single phone call in that country. And if they have it there, they have it here. They have all sorts of crazy shit. Dude, they have invisible planes. They have sonic weapons. But I'm not going to live my life like an insane person. I'm going to live my life like someone who's normal. Someone who's just living. The prison is in my head. It's all in your head, dude. Get out of that prison. I'm not telling you to go out there and start saying, oh, dude, let's go to this federal building and do a big event. No, I'm not telling you to do that. Don't be stupid, obviously. What I'm saying is this idea that I can't order the chicken at KFC because Andrew Tate says that they might poison the chicken because I wrote a tweet one time. No, that's not true. That's not true. I can confidently tell you that's not true. That's not true. All right. Let's continue. Here we have further betrayal, which is a particularly Sneako who we have relentlessly mocked on this show. All right.
People getting permission to engage with something that they find like unsettling. That's kind of why your recent incident went viral, because it was perceived as so extreme that certain groups of people were given permission to engage with it. You know what I mean?
I think the recent incident went viral, truthfully, Jack, with all due respect, because I was there. If Myron, Clav, Sneak, and Nick went to the club and played that song, no one would have gave a fuck. Never would have been on the national news, never would have been a big issue. If Clav and Sneako play that song right now on stream, which they've done 1,000 times, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. They're nobodies. But Andrew Tate was there.
Now, the first reason I'm annoyed at this, and we'll finish the clip, is this. For the men in the audience, and the women too, because they've been on the receiving end. You've probably had a friend at some point that was like with you at the club or the bar, and this friend likes to hit on girls with you, right? Like you're his wingman or he's your wingman, right? And you go up to a lady, you're like, "Hey, how are you doing, Liz?" You pull the Bill Ackman, "Can I meet you?" And your buddy goes, "Sorry for my friend here, bro. He's a fucking retard, dude. Oh, man, he's a fucking idiot. Fuck this guy. How you doing, Missy? I love you." Yeah. That is loser shit. That is loser shit. You don't like that. You don't like that stuff. And that's exactly what Andrew Tate is doing here. And what bothers me even more is that he is instilling this in younger people. This trait was going away. It was going away. You've met people like this, dude. People that will put you down thinking that it will elevate them. No, all it does psychologically is tell people that you hang out with losers because you're calling your friend a loser, but buddy, you're on camera hanging out with him. So was he a loser then? And if he was a loser then, what were you doing hanging out with a bunch of losers? This guy is doing serious psychic damage to young people. Don't do that, man. I know some people think that will get you like pussy or something. It's not. It's just going to make you look ridiculous. Don't do that. So when you're dissing your buddies here, and I'm not a fan of Sneako, and you're going, "Oh, he's a loser," then you're a loser. Then you're a loser. Let's continue.
I'm a real guy. So if someone got shot in that nightclub, the news article would have been, "A man shot in the nightclub Andrew Tate is at. Andrew Tate near shooting in Miami nightclub. Andrew Tate involved in gun incident in Florida." I didn't shoot him. I didn't get shot. I was just there. I'm the main fucking character. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's kind of flattering, but I'm the main character. It went viral because I was there. You have all of them, maybe Myron, maybe Nick a bit, but it's because I was there.
Again, reinforcing it more subtly, saying, "Oh, Myron and
People
Nick,
getting permission.
I'm friends with them, but they don't have an audience like me." Further putting people down. You don't lift yourself up by putting people down. All right. And we see here, again, now this is a full-on cope about his relationship with Sneako and what he said on the Patrick Bet David podcast.
People are saying you sold Sneako out, saying that Sneako was the person who played the song in the club. And I thought that was a little out of character for you, but with everything you've just said, having been through a lot, it's just kind of like, let me avoid another tragedy.
Yeah, the problem with talking about him is he likes it because he needs it for his stream. So he's going to take this clip and he's going to sit on his stream to his few viewers and he's going to make a big deal of it. First things first, I don't think I sold him out, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, he hasn't been my friend for a very long time. He's not my boy. He's not like Tristan. I hung out with him years ago when he was emulating me, trying to be me, desperately. I made his career by speaking to him. Otherwise, he would have stayed a nobody forever. instead of showing me thanks for that, he started, every time I wouldn't reply to his texts, go on stream and cry in some way and complain about me. It was very bitchy. It was very weird. Like, he'd beg to be my friend one side and then do a stream insulting me the next side. Back and forth, anything for views. Very strange. And I'm not the only person he did it to. And then I said to Tristan, anyone who names themselves Sneako, like, you're naming yourself Sneaky.
All right, and that's enough. So you're hanging out with someone that you're calling inherently distrustful, inherently bad, that you're not friends with, that is an ankle biter, but you're hanging out with him. What does that say about you? What does that say about you? So this whole interview is cope and lies, in my view. It's just cope and lies. And we're going to see Sneako's reaction before that. Ephra says, do you think Hollywood has made America schizophrenic and paranoid? I deeply blame sci-fi for making everything fantastical. Ephra, I know you don't like sci-fi because I've read it in the chats before. I've never been a sci-fi fan myself. Hollywood definitely played a role in this. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I guess the Manchurian Candidate is somewhat sci-fi. Yes, that stuff makes people nuts. Absolutely. For me, my favorite example is, and it was made in Hollywood, is Duck and Cover, which was a anti-nuclear bomb ad or, instructional video that was made and shown to the whole boomer generation, saying that you will get annihilated in a nuclear bomb, but you should go under your desk. That was all made to make people crazy, in my view. Now, I've seen your take on sci-fi. With sci-fi, I've never been a huge fan. I do think the newer sci-fi stuff, there's a Chris Pratt movie coming out it's going to let people say predictive programming, where he has to defend himself to an AI judge. And that's clearly designed to make you nuts. That's designed to make you paranoid of when that's coming. But I will say, Ephra, that the issue I have with sci-fi, which is a particular field, you're right, like there is a lot of problems with sci-fi. But when I look at older sci-fi movies, especially like the 80s and 90s, you see that it's unfortunate because despite the dark vision and everything, people were still dreaming of the future. Blade Runner is a dark vision of the future, a dark, dark vision. It's from the ghetto, and I'll take it back to the ghetto. And Blade Runner, but the aesthetics, the idea of the flying car and all this, it showed that there was a certain level of optimism and ability to believe in a better future, at least technologically. Now, they framed it as being bad, but at this point, I kind of pine for the idea of a sci-fi movie that at least paints the future as interesting, because now it's just, I liked Infinity Pool, but that's a sci-fi movie that's designed in this world, of this world, to only make you more nuts. So I get what you mean, Ephra. Absolutely. Sci-fi, but Hollywood in general, people have differences with him, and they're not perfect, but there is a book worth picking up. There's a couple of them called Esoteric Hollywood by Jay Dyer. I have my issues with him, but they're actually pretty good analyses on a lot of films. And he's kind of off base on some, in my opinion, but he is describing how these movies made people crazy. And they're pretty good. Some of them are okay analyses. I didn't love his analysis of The Godfather, but his one on 2001, The Space Odyssey, is pretty good. But I'm much more nice to Kubrick than he is. Kubrick, I don't think, was trying to make us crazy. I think he was just trying to warn us of a lot of stuff. All of his films, I love all of the Kubrick films. But I could see how you could say Clockwork Orange is designed to make you nuts, but I think that he was simply being descriptive, him in particular. All right, let's continue. So here we see Sneako's reaction to this whole thing, and then we'll close out this segment because we have to get to our last segment, which is short, so we're good.
How gangster are you? Oh, you love to say the N-word, right? You love to talk about how Venezuelans are Mexican. You love to talk about how Koreans are Chinese, third worlders invading, right? You love it. Let's test your gangster. Hear this song. They didn't want to say turn up the song in the moment. In the moment, they didn't want to say, hey, don't, because they didn't want to come off pussy, because they know that that is their entire image. They built their personal brand on not care about fighting back, saying what you're not supposed to say. So they couldn't. They didn't have the balls to say it in the moment. Why it's so pathetic is afterwards they try to retract consent, just like the whores that are accusing them. Just like the whores who sleep with the guy and, oh, I regret it, I didn't want to do it, it's rape. folded like a lawn chair, right? He's wearing the Burger King hat, right? Do you guys know why he's holding this? It's because this is a meme where a white guy was on the plane and started saying the hard R. He's like, oh, look, I'm the edgy guy who says a racial slur. Actually, no, you're not. You folded when it came to anti-Semitism. Don't try to be here and talk, I'm the base guy. I'll say the words you don't want me to say.
So you see here, there's a bit of a mess. And today it culminated with Sneako getting a little emotional on stream.
Yeah, just like, from my perspective, we can move on for this. I need to finish my monologue. I've never seen this many people switch on me, bro. I've never seen it happen. I don't have a lot of people supporting me right now. There's a lot of pressure from a lot of different angles. Perhaps I'm too paranoid.
I did wear the crown, Mr. Elu, but I was wearing it for the King Leo show. Where else am I going to get a crown? Can't buy an actual tiara. It wasn't a reference to that guy or that meme. I just needed... Where's my crown? Here's my crown. I just needed the crown. And where else do you go to a crown in America than Burger King?
Stop being a baby, bro. I'm just tired of seeing me personally, I'm tired of seeing the disrespect and everything. Yeah, just.
So look, you see here, Sneako is clearly crashing out on this. Okay. And my question here is this, which is the wider question. I said this when we first covered this earlier in the week. This is revealing itself to be a den of vipers. I actually do give the people that stood on it a pass. In terms of, at least they're not trying to drive people nuts. I will say, even the people who stood on it, you see Myron is dancing in a KKK hood. I don't think that's healthy for people to see. I don't think that's healthy. But what I really do wonder here, and what's worth analyzing, is this little event. All publicity is good publicity. I get it. You know, bad publicity is good publicity. But I do think that we're reaching a point where people are going to have to start considering this, especially people like Fuentes, because Fuentes, in my opinion, is in an ascendant political movement. You see it with Mr. Fishback. This is something that matters. Okay, Mr. Fishback is a guy who has not disavowed this guy. He has, actively defended him. He has embraced some of his ideas, some of his fans. And when you come and do this, and I'm not blaming Fuentes, I'm not blaming anyone here, but when a group comes together and does this in the state where Mr. Fishback is running, this is very damaging to that person. I'm sure we're going to see this in attack ads in the future. And Zoran had to put up with a lot of BS, but I didn't really see him self-inflict much. And no one can see the future. No one knew how this was going to turn out. I'm sure when they were leaving their apartments to go to the nightclub, they didn't know it would end up like this. No one had this idea. But seeing this rupture, this political rupture on the Fuentes right, if not, I wouldn't say discouraging, but it is something where you look at it and I think you make it so other people can say, they can ask the question genuinely, is this a serious movement? Is this a serious movement that can actually deliver politically and win elections? Because we see here that there are weaker links in this movement, and every movement has them, of course. But like Zoran Mamdani ran a really tight ship on his politics. I don't think he had any defectors. But here we have one night out, and there are two defectors minimum, which are the Tate brothers. We have one guy who stayed on board, which is Sneako. Another guy who stayed on board, which is Fuentes. We have another guy who stayed on board but is playing a clown, which is Myron. This doesn't strike me as something that's positive for the political message. It strikes me as something that is at best neutral, but not very conducive to electoral politics. And as someone who's following the Fishback campaign pretty closely, and dude, you guys you're getting a front seat ticket to this because I'm force feeding this to you, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. I would like to see, because I'm a guy, I appreciate a good fight. I appreciate a good battle of the wits. And I don't want to see anyone self-sabotage like this because it just makes it so. For example, with Fishback, personally, I dislike the Florida Republican establishment. I don't agree with Fishback on everything. I think he's wrong about a lot of stuff. But I like any ankle biter, any guy that can hurt these people. And now he will probably have to contend with this. And this is a guy who has been nothing but kind to Mr. Fuentes and his movement. And they come and do this in his state, you know? So I struggle to see how this translates electorally in a good way. Especially because everyone is comfortable posting this stuff publicly. And it's not measured. It's not well done. Fuentes is the only guy who's been measured on the thing. Obviously with some humor. But Andrew Tate is just out there talking shit and disavowing and running away. Sneako here is getting emotional. Myron is dancing in a rabbi uniform costume and in a KKK hood. And, you know, there's a bit of a Misfit Toys angle, but there's also a bit of a, you know, like, is this a clown car? I'm actually flipping what Andrew Tate said. Because Andrew Tate was making fun of these guys, saying, I'm the biggest guy there, they're all losers. Well, if Mr. Fuentes is leading a serious political movement, he needs to watch this guy. This is stuff that matters. This is the stuff that matters. This is the stuff. This is where you can really mess up a campaign, like Mr. Fishback's, who has been nothing but kind. So it's food for thought, and it's worth thinking about as we ascend into a political future which looks a lot like Zohar Mamdani versus Nick Fuentes. So with that, everybody, we're almost out of time, but I want to get to this story, which is very funny. So I saw this trailer for this movie called The Rip. I watched it recently. It's terrible. Let's watch the trailer first, all right? This is Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They made it with their own little company called Artist Equity.
Developments. We have a few more questions. Last time we spoke, you described the job as follows. Your unit works the dope game. Drugs, guns.
Knock, knock, Miami PD.
How you doing this evening?
5 cops just magically appeared on my doorstep. I've been better.
Don't mind if we come inside.
But the majority of your work consisted of cash seizures.
I don't have any drugs.
The dog's not trained to detect drugs. The dog's trained to detect money.
How much was the tip that came in? 300 grand. That's a $20 million rip. It'd be so much easier if we just stole this money. I swear to God.
You should just take whatever money you want and walk away before this goes really bad for all of us.
No one needs to die tonight. You have 30 minutes to get out of that house.
All right, that's enough. So this movie, as soon as it came out, I said it in the Discord. This is based on a real story. In Miami Lakes, which is a suburb of the wider Miami area, which is very nice, actually. It's next to Hialeah. People from Hialeah say they're from Miami Lakes in order to be a little bit more classy, you know. This Hispanic cop, because most of the police in Miami is Hispanic, found something like $30 million in someone's house, okay? It was a huge story down here. It was like, oh my God, he turned in the money. That's crazy. Now, it was written into the silly little script that you can watch this on Netflix. I don't recommend it, but if you really want to. And you have here, as part of the Miami Police Department, playing the role of this cop, Matt Damon. Now, this cop, as I said, is Hispanic. Matt Damon, you know, he's Irish, so he could pass for like Mexican or Argentinian. But this is a Cuban man, okay? And Ben Affleck is also on the police force, and notably also is Steven Yeun, this guy here, this Korean guy. Where is he? Where's Steven Yeun? Let me. This guy here, he's from The Walking Dead. He's famous. And we have these two token characters, who is this black woman. There are black women on the Miami police force. I assume that she's not Hispanic. I don't remember her speaking Spanish. Here we go. Here are the 4 cops, okay?
Miami.
So this black lady here There are black people in Miami, nothing wrong with that. And this Hispanic woman who is Colombian, she's known from the movie Maria Full of Grace, which is worth watching. Now, as soon as I saw this trailer, I thought this was a parody or something. I was like, what are we doing here? This is, I'm not, dude, I'm anti like DEI, you know, in the sense of I want to watch a movie about 17th century England and the people look like what they would have looked like then, you know, at least in the past. Now I don't really care in the sense that I don't really watch movies, but theoretically, that's what I would want. Now, when I saw this here, I was like, hang on. This isn't the first time that Ben Affleck has done this. He did Argo, which is about a Hispanic CIA officer that got the hostages out of Iran during the Iran hostage crisis and cast himself in the lead role. Now, I was like, listen, man, everyone from Miami appreciates an Anglo that can go down. You know, dude, Scarface, legendary. Some Hispanics tried to say that that was brownface a few years ago. Some of the Latinx types, they were like, this is brownface. And I was like, dude, fuck you. Al Pacino is a legend. All right? Everyone appreciates Al Pacino again. Puerto Rican, Carlito's Way. This man's Italian. This man is not Hispanic. But he commits the role. He does good, right? Over here, they pretend that they're like these white guys who are on the police force and they speak Spanish. And they speak Spanish, obviously, Ben Affleck does because of his marriage. I don't know if Matt Damon does. But they speak broken Spanish and Steven Yeun is there. And I'm like, dude, I have never seen an Asian cop in Miami in my whole life. I've never seen one. I've never seen one. And these two token characters, the Colombian, I'm not going to give her shit. She didn't go full Sofia Vergara, you know, like, honey, what are you doing? I hate that kind of crap, you know. But it was still like, it was some tap dancing. Like, there was a little bit of cooning there from the Hispanic, you know, which you'd expect. But I'm just wondering, the people who put this movie together are Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And these are smart, educated guys. Would they make Goodwill Hunting with two Cuban guys? Probably not, because it wouldn't make sense. It has to be Irish guys. They're in Boston. So I didn't appreciate that. And furthermore, what I didn't appreciate is, if you can see here, this is in the start of the movie.
We spoke, you described the job.
They're going into Hialeah, which is known as La Ciudad del Progreso. Fruta, fango y factoría. That translates to the city of progress, fruits, mud, and factories. Okay?
As follows. Your unit works the dope.
No neighborhood in Hialeah looks like this. No neighborhood in Hialeah.
Drugs, guns.
This looks nothing like Hialeah, dude. Literally nothing like Hialeah. This looks ridiculous. The plinking, this is ridiculous. There is no plinking in Hialeah. No one is shooting up the Hialeah sign. That's not happening. These are working class, predominantly Cuban people. The few times I've been to Hialeah, it's interesting because it feels like an old school American town. Like the cops know the people who live there. The people who live there work in manufacturing. Somewhat, it's gone away, but shipping, real blue collar stuff. And they made Hialeah look like a ghetto, like where from Byron Donalds is from, right? Like according to James Fishback. But also the houses are super nice. So it's a schizo movie. It doesn't make sense because the houses are nice. This is clearly shot in LA because you can see here, these numbers, I guess you can't see them, I'm there. These numbers, this doesn't exist in Hialeah. Okay, this doesn't exist. Hialeah, I actually canvassed for a guy who was running in Hialeah once just because I wanted to see what Hialeah was actually like. And it doesn't look like this, okay? Hialeah is not a drug den, and it's also not like a white people suburb. And the Miami Police Department is not Irish guys, Asians, and then a black woman and a Latina. It's like all Cuban dudes, Colombians. There's Anglos, of course. And they cooperate a lot with federal law enforcement, which is all Anglo, right? Like the DEA and stuff. So I thought this was a parody. Okay, and I see Mr. Elu asking, are they implying they are all drug dealers? They're implying that there's crime in Hialeah, that I'm sure there's drug dealing in Hialeah. I'm sure this exists. And I saw 112 ask if it's a new movie. It is a new movie. You can watch it now. It came out last week. They're sort of, you can take it that way. I didn't, because I give people a lot of grace, especially people like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, because I like their work. I like them. I don't think they're implying that people are all drug dealers in Hialeah, personally. But people took it that way. And they also took it as silly. Okay? And here we have, I don't know if they're going to sue, but the Hialeah mayor made this an issue.
Tonight, Hialeah's mayor is threatening Hollywood elites with potential legal action over one of the most popular movies streaming on Netflix right now. It's called The Rip and stars Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, but its portrayal of Hialeah is scoring more than rotten reviews around City Hall.
That's one way to put it. CBS News Miami's Larry Seward is live in Hialeah where the mayor is making demands. So Larry, he wants a correction or money?
Yes, he does. In fact, Jim, Mayor Brian Calvo knows The Rip is inspired by true events that happened in Miami Lakes 10 years ago, but the film setting is here in Hialeah, and the mayor says doing that potentially scares away business and hurts this city's reputation.
You should just take whatever money you want and walk away before this goes really bad for all of us.
It is called The Rip, a Matt Damon Ben Affleck flick inspired by a real $20 million cash seizure in South Florida's Miami Lakes community 10 years ago. But filmmakers' crime thriller is set in Mayor Brian Calvo's city.
Well, before anything else, I just want to make one thing clear. It's pronounced Hialeah.
They mispronounce it in the thing. Hialeah is a Native American word. Now it's pronounced Hialeah, you know, because it's in Spanish. But they pronounce it, I think they pronounced it Hialeah. Hialeah. They said Hialeah in the movie.
Miami PD. While the film blends Miami and Hialeah's names, Calvo says scenes showing police corruption with the Hialeah police badge and bullet holes in the city sign are more than artistic expression. Around City Hall, it hurts.
I know Hialeah has been the butt of the joke for a long time, but that ends now. This movie is a slap in the face to our law enforcement personnel.
Never a good thing when someone portrays a city in negative light.
Police Chief George Fuente and Calvo say viewers believing Hialeah is dangerous with bad officers could scare away visitors at a time when the city hopes to benefit from events like FIFA's World Cup games in nearby Miami Gardens this summer. Calvo read statistics supporting his belief that Hialeah is safer than many. CBS News Miami called Artist Equity, the studio behind the film. They did not respond to messages for comment. Meanwhile, Calvo publicly invited Damon, Affleck, and producers to visit Hialeah. While the mayor did not reach out to any of them to complain, the city's attorneys might.
We're asking for either our fair share of monetary damage, or we're asking for the depiction to be a real depiction of the professionalism of this department.
So you see there, look, obviously I'm not going to defend a Miami politician. It's a grift, obviously. But I think this is important, and especially because Efra's brought this up before, his point stands where this could scare away foreign investment. This is one of these things where art imitates life and life imitates art. It's promoting I see Ironhammer Forge says it's promoting the city. It is promoting the city, but Hialeah is not known. Look, Hialeah is known as a working class neighborhood in Miami. And unfortunately, the manufacturing jobs have been stripped away. It used to be a manufacturing hub. And now it's a lot of older Cuban people on Social Security, some young people that work in factories, what's left, and some retail. And it's one of the more depressed areas of Miami. And to see this kind of, portrayal, if you're thinking financially, it does make sense. Like, it's like, dude, you are hurting the image of Hialeah. Because, and I would bring up, Miami Vice didn't really do this. I'm also like picking on this because I didn't like the movie. I just thought it was poorly written and I didn't like the twist. Miami Vice made Miami cool. Miami Vice was a fucking cool show, dude. If you haven't seen Miami Vice, please watch it. Miami Vice, the movie too. Great movie. And there's crime in it, but it's done in a very cool way. Like, the place is still a cool place to be. But this movie didn't do that. It made it seem like it was like some suburban place that's also a shithole. So it got none of it right. And I understand. I understand where he's coming from. I don't think that they're going to respond. But this is a thing where art can feed into life. And I would express some disappointment at Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, because these guys are guys that strive for authenticity. They try to do things right, but they're overlooking stuff where their offense is more at the portrayal of the city. My not offense, but just confusion was like, dude, what are we doing here? There's like one Latina on the police force. By the way, female cops are pretty rare in Miami. I assume it's like 10%, but it's you know, 2 female cops. One of them is Black American. One of them is Colombian. 2 Irish guys. And an Asian guy. You know, for as much as like we complained about DEI, especially people who love movies like myself, it's like, dude, are we doing DEI in reverse now? Because, dude, if it was Scarface, dude, Scarface was fucking cool. There were protests about Scarface when it came out in Miami because they're like, you're making the Cuban community look bad. But they didn't realize it made the Cuban community look fucking cool, you know? So it's I see 112's asking about Hialeah. Look, Hialeah, dude, it used to be a very important place back in the day. Winston Churchill went to Hialeah. I'll show you Hialeah. Let me show you this. Let me see, like, tourist promo or something. Winston Churchill went there. So did Al Capone, because Hialeah was known for its racetrack. Okay.
Hialeah, Florida is a.
I've been here a couple times. This is the entry gate. It is kind of the butt of the joke. Okay. Amelia Earhart took off from her last flight from Hialeah. There was a flea market where it was, and it was actually a really cool flea market, and they tore it down for an Amazon warehouse. They have this park, Amelia Earhart Park. They have this art museum. This is the racetrack. They still race horses, I think, but not dogs. This was a very classy place in the 20s, okay? Nowadays, it's like a working class place. They're kind of whitewashing it here, of course. You have a water park. It's working class. If you like living with working class people, that's totally cool. You know, I have no problem living with working class people. I like them. But to me, it's just not a beautiful place. For me, it's not. There's a new golf course. All right, and now they're lying. Like this is all right. Yeah, it's like 30 minutes from there, the Oleta State Park, and it doesn't look like that. And yeah, they have the flamingos. So Hialeah is a place that was left behind. And when Ben Affleck comes in here doing this, they're not poor, 112. I won't say they're poor. They're working class, which is different. They're working class people. And their industry has been stripped away. They're not poor. So it really struck me to see Ben Affleck portray the Miami Police Department in this DEI way and get this completely wrong. Because it's just completely wrong, dude. And I'll recommend to you, dude, like, if you want to watch a cool movie that deals with my Miami police, this is free online. Miami Super Cops. They actually used Hialeah police officer uniforms for this. It's a very cool movie. It's Italian. And dude, the intro is fucking legendary, man. This is a cool movie. Or Miami Vice, the movie or the show. They're bringing it back. It's probably going to suck. But this is a very cool movie, Miami Super Cops. And you can see that they use the old school uniforms. Where are they? See these cops, man. Yeah, here. So these are all Hialeah uniforms. And these Italians did a great job with this movie. It's very cool. It's called Miami Super Cops. And Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have really surprised me as to how they created this political controversy, art controversy. And I'm sure it's good for the movie. But if you put this movie on, dude, it's pretty boring. It's pretty boring. At least it's not Detroit. It's not everything. Yeah, it's at least not Detroit. Hialeah is not a bad place, dude. It's just, it's not my style. I prefer Little Havana if you're going to go to a working class neighborhood. Little Havana is nice. In my opinion, I have friends that don't like it because there's some crime in Little Havana. But it's nice, you know. But I'm just disappointed that a Italian exploitation movie or 80s TV did better than Ben Affleck, who's getting called out by the government of Hialeah. And they deserve it, dude. They didn't even pronounce the name right. So this isn't some, like, I'm angry about it because the movie was not very good. And of course, I love white people. But guys, if you're not going to go full Pacino, then don't do it. You know, Pacino didn't speak Spanish, so he just did it with a Cuban accent. And we look past that, dude. there are Hispanics who will watch Scarface that don't speak English in English. They won't dub it because they're like, bro, he got the accent perfect. I want to hear him say it. Or when he did Carlito's Way. You know, if you're not gonna commit to it like that, then we're just making Jack Ryan, where everyone is like, Steven Soderbergh isn't this sloppy. It's just a sloppy movie. So yeah, dude, like, I'm not saying anything, but dude, if you're gonna do it, commit to it. Go to the role. This is mostly a complaint of you not doing the role properly. You're supposed to go full Pacino if you're doing Miami. And if you're gonna be a white cop in Miami, they exist, I'm sure. Well, then first shave the beard, you know. And look, you're wearing a Cuban link chain. That's not enough. And you gotta have some sauce on it, you know? Because this just looks like a Boston Police Department. It doesn't look like Miami. So I'm not saying the movie's racist. I'm not saying I hate these guys. I like some of the Ben Affleck movies. I like some of the Matt Damon movies. But what the fuck do they know about Miami? And it goes to the wider point of how this city is being exploited and Dubaiified by our horrible government. So Iron Hammer Force says, like Andrew Tate trying to say donut. I haven't heard that. But dude, like imagine me. Their Spanish isn't terrible. Like Ben Affleck's Spanish isn't terrible, but Matt Damon's wasn't very good. It was okay. I think he speaks it from his Argentinian wife, which is like, dude, you could work on it with her, you know? You can make it sound a little bit more Cuban. You know, they drop like a few Cuban words and they're like, oh, that's Cuban Spanish. It's like, no, that's not Cuban Spanish. And if you're in Miami, you're going to speak. Dude, my accent is all fucked up, dude, because my mom is Venezuelan. She was raised in Colombia. My dad's Chilean, but he moved to Venezuela. And I was raised in Miami. So my accent in Spanish is like completely neutral. People are always like, where are you from? Are you Argentinian? I'm like, no. Are you Peruvian? No. Are you Colombian? No. Are you Mexican? Dude, I got a Mexican. But I'm an exception. You know, I'm not the rule. And you can Cuban it up. So yeah, I'm just disappointed in artist equity. I'm disappointed in Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Two talented guys, but you know, he says donut. Oh, like donut. Ah, okay. Dude, I have some calcs. I have some of those. I say salmon. You know, I've said before, is that meat or chicken? Because in Spanish, meat and chicken are different, but in English are not. There's a Miami accent. There's a Wikipedia page for it. It's worth reading, dude. If you're not from here, look at this. Miami accent. Dude, they list some of the interesting stuff because it's not Spanglish. People think it's Spanglish. No, it's like, it teaches you how, for example, the word cot and cot, as you can see here, are pronounced the same because immigrants, when they're taught the AU, they tell them it sounds like an O and they pass it on. So I say cot and cot as the same thing, but I know white people go caught, you know? It's an interesting accent. Get down from the car, drink a pill, eating shit. That's a very Miami thing. They didn't even drop one eating shit. Eating shit in Miami means that you're like doing nothing. So again, I'm disappointed. How would you like it if I showed up and I played George Washington in a movie? Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So the reason I didn't like Hamilton, I was like, first, I don't like musicals. Secondly, I think it's corny. But then I'm like, Lin-Manuel Miranda, you're going to play Alexander Hamilton? What is this? Feels a little weird. All right, it's like a white guy playing Luis Marin Munoz, the governor of Puerto Rico. Wouldn't make sense, you know? So, you know. 112 says Spanish is a language God loves the sound of. Spanish is a beautiful language, man. It's underrated. People love to say French. Ephra says, I love musicals. I'm not a musical guy, Ephra, but I like Oklahoma. I liked La La Land. For me, a musical really has to sell me on it. I like Little Shop of Horrors. I like a couple musicals, but I didn't like Hamilton. I don't like Les Mis. Musicals are very tough for me. I have to get into it. High School Musical. Yeah. I really like Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a good musical. I'm glad we have a musical fan because most people aren't holding it down on musicals. And people are definitely not holding it down on live theater. I love live theater, dude. Waiting for Godot. I love Waiting for Godot. I love Beckett. Beckett's the best. I would love to see that play, but no one does it anymore. My playhouse, my local playhouse, all they do in the big 2026 is like woke stuff. It's like, this is the play about how white people were racist to Cubans when they showed up. And I'm like, dude, can we get like an actual good play? I don't want to keep watching this stuff. The last one I went to see was the live play version of Cocaine Cowboys, and it was garbage. It was terrible. Halfway through the play, they started talking about Trump. And I'm like, what are we doing here, folks? I came to watch the Cocaine Cowboys play, not the Donald Trump play. So it's just ridiculous. Oh, man. Mystery Who Likes Lame is, I never got it. I've never got it. Mr. Elu says some guy thought he was Dominican. Dude, I hear that from Indians all the time, bro. That Indians are like, I had an Indian buddy in New York. He was like, dude, these abuelos, they come up to me speaking in Spanish, and I have to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I hate everything says you got to speak Spanish like the Puerto Ricans. Dude, don't get me started on the Puerto Rican Spanish. You're in New York, bro. You know. La bombilla. Bro, no, it's, listen, I can't go this hard here. The Puerto Rican Spanish is a little bit ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And yes, rest in peace to Puerto Ricans, because if you're Bad Bunny's doing a, where is Willie Colon? Where is Hector Lavoe? Where are the great Puerto Rican singers of yesteryear? Now it's Bad Bunny. Puerto Ricans made the greatest music of all time. Puerto Rican salsa is the greatest salsa music ever made, bar none. Bar none. And now they're doing Bad Bunny. You listen to La Gran Fuga, that whole album, and you're like, this is the greatest album I've heard in my life. I love the Puerto Rican music. I love it. But now it's Bad Bunny. Effort says the Spanish is too fast. Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans, and Cubans get told Spanish is very fast, but the Cubans tell us that our Spanish is too fast to Venezuelans. So yeah, there's a lot of like dialects and stuff. I think at some point, no, it won't happen because of the internet, but it'd be cool if they split up into different languages. Where's La Bamba? Yes, Mr. Elu. Where is, they were Mexican, but still same point. Like, where is Selena? Where are the good artists? Where's Oscar de Leon? Like, where are the good, dude, it doesn't make us look good, you know? When we were doing salsa music, it was nice. And now we're doing reggaeton and people are like, can we respect this? All right, everyone. I got to get out of here. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We went a little over. Is Bill Maher on tonight? Is Bill Maher on tonight? Hang on. We'll check right now. I've been waiting for... Bill Maher is back. Bill Maher is back, baby. Who's on Bill Maher tonight? Who is on Bill Maher tonight? Hang on, dude. Before we get out, I got to lock into my torture session. Bill Maher. What is it? Overtime. Here we go. We got Senator John Kennedy, Castle Hunt, and Major John Paul Eaton. This is going to be a great episode of Brain Rot. Hell yeah. I've been praying for Bill Maher to come back, dude. I can't, dude, the day he goes is going to be a very sad day for me, because every Friday I sit down and I put ice picks in my balls and watch Bill Maher. This torture session can't be interrupted. I really want to know. Podcast says Mark Anthony. Dude, Mark Anthony, legend. The English version was good too. I had everything says that Bad Bunny said he's representing all Latinos. We are not beating those alligators. Please don't even put that in the ether, man. He's representing Puerto Ricans. He's representing American citizens. He's representing Puerto Ricans. I will claim Marco Rubio. I will claim him. I'm not claiming Bad Bunny. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not putting up with it when the white people go, hey, look at your boy. That's not my boy. That's not my boy. That's not my boy. The pain zone, us watching fucking Bad Bunny.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
I really want to know podcast says cover of El Cantante was fired. You mean Mark Anthony? I haven't heard that one by Mark Anthony. I love the Hector Lavoe version. It's a great one. Dude, those Puerto Ricans, I don't know what was in the water back then. They made great stuff. All right, everyone. I gotta get out of here. I gotta go torture myself with Bill Maher. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, everyone. Please. I really appreciate it. It's free. It helps the channel grow. It's what helps the channel the most. I'm starting to promote the channel on Twitter, by the way, guys. If you could follow me there, it would really help out because I don't really know how Twitter works, so I don't know how to get reach. So if you guys get in there, follow and help out, I'd appreciate it. Instagram I have there, but you don't really know follow. Enrique Iglesias. Where's Enrique Iglesias? Where's Juan Iglesias? Bro, where's Pablo Milanes? Where is Pablo Milanes? So here's the Discord, which is completely free. Bro, if you haven't heard the Pablo Milanes version of all the Jose Marti poems, you haven't lived. Beautiful stuff. Bring a tear to your eye. I love bolero music. It's my favorite genre. Thank you. I really want to know podcast. Appreciate it. Here's our plugs. So here's our Discord, which is completely free. There's a paid version. We don't have people there yet. Actually, I think Audio Vibes has to go in there. I forgot. Yeah, because they're on Patreon. We have the Patreon, which has the King Leo Movie Club. Santana. Carlos Santana, dude. The greatest, too. Dude, people liked our music, and then we made Bad Bunny. Here's the King Leo Movie Club. New episode tomorrow. We have Audio Vibes, who has to go into the paid tier of the Discord. Very cool. And the What Would a Postmodernist Do bracelet, available at the coffee link below. But join the Discord and subscribe. It's free. And you can also join the channel on YouTube, which is $2 a month. If you do $10 a month, you get the King Leo Movie Club. But if you get it on Patreon, it's $5 a month. What? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Take it on Patreon then. So I appreciate you guys. And I will see you on Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow with a video from the King Leo Movie Club. And I'm going to go watch Bill Maher and listen to Willie Colon. See you guys then.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye. 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 Change the world. My final message.